whimsical, so unpredictable, here on the SNL network.
Yes, that is right. Welcome, everybody, on in to the Saturday Night Network. Happy holidays, and I'm so happy to be back with you right after Christmas to bring you in for a very special holiday show. It's a tradition every year at the SNN that we do a really fun draft podcast and bring in some of our best SNL voices here to, rejoice in the holidays and have some fun with SNL history. And that is exactly what we're going to do today, where we have our SNL one-time host draft. We have had many drafts here on the SNN, so you can go look them up and find them, including never hosted draft, where we drafted hosts who have never hosted the show, some of whom have since hosted since then. So it's a really fun look back there. And we have drafted the best hosts in SNL history, but this time we're going to categorize our draft by looking at the one-time hosts in the history of SNL and who we might want to bring back to host the show again. So let's bring in the competitors for this draft. First up, my man, Bill Kenney. Bill, how are you?
John, I'm so excited. These drafts are always so competitive, so fun. I'm really bummed that I can't use Miskel Spillman as like a Weekend at Bernie's host. We were just discussing off air that we can't use any dead. But I'm still excited, and I've got a great list to go off.
Yes, and to clarify, we love and appreciate the dead, but we cannot pick them today for this draft because, unless there's some reincarnation happening, I don't think they're hosting SNL at this point. So we will only pick from the one-time hosts, which are still with us. As of this recording, if somebody was to die between recording and airing of this show, the SNN is not responsible. So as of Tuesday, December 19th. There.
Sounds like you're manifesting something, John.
No, definitely not. Well, that voice you just heard who skipped the line is Rebecca North. Rebecca, how are you?
I'm good. Sorry for skipping the line. I just had to chime in there because we've recently, I feel like, been manifesting stuff on the podcast that has come to fruition. So I want to watch our words.
Yes, for sure. What's the opposite of manifesting? What manifesting?
Well, I wouldn't skip that.
Okay. Well, let us know in the chat what you think it is. All right. Joining us as well tonight is the great Sammy Kay. Sammy, how are you?
John, I'm doing really well. These drafts are so much fun. It's become like a bit of a holiday tradition for myself, to be involved in these and just to be able to sit around with all these lovely podcasters and duke it out. So I'm excited. This is a very fun topic as well, so it should be a lot of fun.
For sure. Get those dukes up. All right. Joining us as well is the great Victoria Franso, who joined us all season long on By the Numbers so far. So Victoria, how are you?
I am fantastic. I do want to shout out to the Supreme Court of Colorado, if you know, you know. And we'll talk that's a different podcast, though. And yeah, I'm excited to not duke it out, but just to have lively debate discussions with my wonderful peers and besties.
Exactly. All right. And the person who will update us on Floodgate 2023 is Amanda Mitchell. Amanda, how are you?
Oh, my bathroom is safe. I'm good. I've never been angrier on a Saturday evening than I was that. Actually, no, that's not true. I have been angrier on doing this podcast on a Saturday evening than I was the night that my bathroom flooded. But everything is good. It's fine. I leave to go home to Michigan tomorrow. So even if it wasn't, somebody's going to be coming in to fix it. So happy to be here. Happy holidays. It's a good time. Thrilled.
Awesome. Yeah, the listeners were very worried about you, but I'm glad everything's okay, Amanda.
I got so many people. I was like, thanks, guys, for being very concerned for the state of my Brooklyn apartment. Really flattered. Thank you.
For sure. All right. Well, happy to have you on. Joining us as well with a very festive backdrop, it is Andrew Haynes. Haynes, how you doing?
Oh, let me just see if I can hit on all the coach speak talking points. Oh, happy holidays. These drafts are so fun, so competitive, great tradition. Just glad to be with everyone. Is that it? Is that what I'm supposed to say?
Yeah, I think so. You're shot out of a cannon tonight. So happy to have you on, Haynes. And last but certainly not least, it is TJ Randolph. TJ, how are you?
John, I'm very glad to be here. It's been a weird day for me. It started off well. I watched Black Klansman for the first time, and then saw the Colorado decision. And so, things were looking up. And then I learned that What We Do in the Shadows is ending with this next season. So I'm in an emotional place, John, but I'm here, I'm present. We all know most likely I won't pick anyone pre-2006. I'm pissed off that I can't pick Don Rickles, because that would be my one shout out to me knowing anyone before, 2000. So upset I can't use Don Rickles. Like, you would not believe, listeners, how much I would love to pick him. I thought he was a great host, Amanda. Whatever. But I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you here. Yes. So let's get into the draft tonight. We're gonna have a great time with all of these panelists, and the best part of this all is you in the chat telling us what you think of all of these picks. We're competing for your affection tonight, so you have to tell us which team is the best. Okay, the way we're going to decide the draft order tonight is at the beginning of the season. We had a season 49 cast draft where we were drafting based on appearances on this season of the show. Right now, in first place of that draft is Team Bill and Team Haskell. Haskell has recused himself from the draft tonight, so Bill, you will be deciding the draft order. You have the team of Mikey and Devin Walker, who have put up 53 points so far this season. Haskell has Chloe and Marcelo, so also at 53. But Bill, you are leading that draft through 8 weeks, 8 out of 20 weeks this season. So, Bill, you can decide the draft order tonight. What are you going to do?
Ooh, what an honor. I knew I'd be in first, but yeah. Let's do Amanda with her poor apartment in number 1 spot.
I wouldn't call it a poor apartment.
No, poor, not.
I live in Brooklyn. It's very expensive.
Poor Amanda and her flooded apartment. Is that better phrasing?
Yeah.
Are you trying to is this like affirmative action? Like, I don't know if that's what.
Stop.
What?
Oh, gosh.
Yes, the black lady representation does get picked first pick. So
First is objectively the worst spot, though.
I don't know anything about a draft.
It is the worst spot.
First spot. You're going first.
So are you saying that?
No,
I just want to be
not for
number
this particular
one in
draft.
everybody's
I don't.
heart.
Yeah, not for
I'm
this
just
draft.
saying.
You are.
Look, Bill wants to lift up black women. Let's let him do it by putting her down.
You got this, Bill.
simultaneously.
Yeah, TJ's over here being a hater.
My goodness,
a
TJ.
whole,
hater.
The holiday season, TJ.
Bill couldn't even say my name, and TJ just spat out the hate. It was
I told you guys they were going to duke it out. Everyone's duking it
My
out.
neck.
Wow. Bill, keep going.
My back. Sorry,
John, we're gonna need the mediator hat tonight.
Somebody volunteer.
You need
Bill.
the Tony Reale mute button, John. I think
my neck.
for tonight.
Very
my
that.
back. My.
No,
Or you just
I'm
need
gonna
to mute
we can't
TJ
afford
button.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very that.
All right, Bill, go ahead.
Let's do Sammy in the number 2 spot.
Sweet.
I'm going to do Rebecca in number 3.
Wow, he broke up the Michiganders. Got it.
Put myself at 4th. TJ 5th. Victoria 6th.
Why you guys always do this to me?
And it's a tradition now, Haynes.
Yeah, I guess it is.
And we'll leave John and Haynes as is.
Okay.
Oh, this
All
is
right.
the farthest back John's been.
That's okay. I can still win. We have your order. So Amanda's first, Sammy is second, Rebecca is third, Bill is fourth, TJ fifth, Victoria sixth, I am seventh, and Haynes is eighth. We then snake draft on the way back. So Haynes will kick off the second round and the fourth round, and Amanda will do the third and the fifth round. So there will be 5 rounds. 40 hosts will be drafted tonight. We will go one by one, talk about the host, and now we'll go to somebody else to get their opinion on the pick. Amanda, you can pick. There's almost 400 hosts, I believe, that have hosted one time that are still around. You have the choice to pick any of them. Who is the number 1 overall pick in this draft?
Wait, I have a question before we start.
Please,
Of course.
Rebecca.
What about people that in their one appearance co-hosted? Do we have to break them up?
I think
you-
did because
you-
Like Mary
Straight
Kate
up.
and Ashley.
Like
Or
only
you
Mary
cannot-
Kate and
you cannot
Ashley
draft
is
them
not
together.
Mary
breaking
Kate
up?
and Ashley.
no, you can't draft
You
them together.
can't-
Nick
Okay,
Lachey
so you're gonna
hosted
make us
and hosted
pick an
together, and he
Olsen.
broke them up.
Okay.
So you
Yes.
can't take
Got
Nick Lachey by himself. Yes.
Yes, exactly. Yes. yes.
Got it.
I mean, Love Is Blind
I
isn't
love
that good. I mean,
We haven't seen him by himself in years, so that would
Well,
be
Yeah.
a feat, you know?
honestly, yeah.
Okay, well, this list was overwhelming. Overwhelming. I went through it multiple times. I slept on it. I made picks. I deleted those picks. I still don't know. I'm going to be making this up as we go along. I'm aware of this. And that is just my energy. So, but I did decide, I was like, who would I be both thrilled and see as relevant in this day and age? Who would be a wonderful surprise as a host? Who would I drop everything to see as a host? And I already know the exact sketch they would do for this one person. And that person is Nicole Kidman herself. I'm picking Nicole Kidman first because I know Please Don't Destroy would absolutely just do a sketch that is the AMC opener, straight to no edits, just that sketch. And that we would be waiting for the punchline, and the punchline would be, no, we're just doing this. She is wonderful. She's always relevant, always culturally relevant. She won that divorce. And I love her. I love her. And I have the suit. I have the AMC suit, in case you guys are wondering. So.
Can I quickly interject here and just say this is my first time podcasting with Amanda, and I love her already. So that's all.
Well, it's very
love
nice.
the energy from that corner.
Thanks, Victoria. I'm just over here shimmying away, So that's my pick. Debate amongst yourselves.
Yeah, well, here we go. So Nicole Kidman, first off the board here, hosted November 20th, 1993, season 19, episode 7, with musical guest Stone Temple Pilots. And a very interesting pick here. Of course, mentioning that AMC commercial, we did get, I believe in the Miles Teller episode, we had Chloe Fineman playing Nicole Kidman doing that exact sketch. So it would be very fascinating to see Nicole Kidman come back. Perhaps we get a Keith Urban musical guest pairing. That could be interesting. So very, very fascinating first overall pick here. Bill, you put Amanda in the 1 slot. How do you think she did?
She did fantastic. I remember this episode very well, mostly because of Stone Temple Pilots. It was the Thanksgiving episode in '93, and they had just come on the scene. As far as sketches, I don't have a lot of memory of what she did, but she's still very relevant today. Maybe we'd get a Tom Cruise cameo. No, that wouldn't happen. But the season 1920 hosts that come off the board are going to be very interesting to talk about because there's a lot of heavy hitters from those 2 seasons, and they were 2 very terrible seasons. So it'll be interesting to see, did they never come back because the show was so bad at the time? And maybe after 30 years, it's time for them to revisit the show. So great pick.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe Nicole Kidman in that episode only in about 6 sketches. So we would imagine if she was to come back, she would get a little bit more work this time. Okay, Sammy Kay, who's going number 2?
Yeah, so first off, I want to commend Amanda for that pick. I think the Nicole Kidman AMC call is a big, good call. Love to see someone come in to promote an AMC ad. But I know that if I don't pick this person, they're not getting out of the first round. So I am going to be picking Conan O'Brien here, for my first pick. Conan is just one of my favorite just people in general, whether it be celebrity, comedian, host, whatever. He's just all around amazing. The episode that he hosted, I believe in the early 2000s, I feel like is considered kind of like a classic, especially his monologue, just going back and rewatching that. Is super memorable. Obviously, he had a ton of experience doing monologues because he hosted a late night show at that time. And for a long time, I really didn't think that this was a realistic possibility that he would ever come back, especially with everything that happened with The Tonight Show. And obviously, this is a fantasy draft, but now that he's recently appeared in the 5-Timer sketch, I think it is actually possible that we can one day see him return to Studio 8H, and I'd love to see it. So that is my reason for picking Conan here.
Great pick here by Sammy at number 2 overall. Conan O'Brien hosted the show on March 10th, 2001, season 26, episode 14, with musical guest Don Henley. And yeah, you said it very well, Sammy. Nobody thought that we would see Conan again on Saturday Night Live. And now that we have that opportunity to, people are craving for Conan to come back to the show. I think this is a very realistic possibility at some point. Haynes, what do you think of Sammy's pick here with Conan O'Brien?
From speaking from a redhead's perspective, we're talking about one of the greatest comedians of our generation. No, listen, I grew up, Conan was my late night guy. It was just, that's what fit my style of humor in high school. And I still, I love his podcast, Conan Needs a Friend. Still a huge Conan fan. Obviously, yeah, it was awesome to see him back for the Five-Timer sketch. I mean, he absolutely, if I was in this spot, it might have been my pick. I was thinking about someone else who's just insanely popular to win some internet votes, but like as far as who I just want to see on in this draft, I would want Conan, top of the list. Just absolutely love Conan.
Yeah, makes sense. And of course, we may see Conan for the 50th, given that they're going to bring back a lot of great SNL writers from history, and imagining, him and Greg Daniels and Bob Odenkirk and Robert Smigel all being together again to write something for the 50th. He'll probably be there for that. If not, maybe we will see him sooner as host. A great pick here from Sammy Kay. Rebecca, over to you with the number 3 pick.
I am so upset because that was my pick, Sammy. So now I'm
sniped.
Finding someone else. I know, sniped. I really thought I had it too because I'm like, I'm pretty high up. Like, I think it could happen. But I'm kind of going the same vibe. Yeah, I know. We always have similar ideas. I sometimes drafts I really prepare for, and those are the ones I've done the worst in. So the best one I did is the cast member draft 2 years ago, where I just didn't prep, went on the spot and went with my heart. And I ended up winning that one with Sarah Sherman and Chloe Feynman. So I'm going to go with my heart. And I'm going with my heart because he was so beloved in his time hosting that we've seen him since, but he hasn't hosted. And I think he kind of surprised everyone. And since his, spoiler alert, NFL career has ended, we've seen him in a lot of more comedic roles. So I'm going to pick Peyton Manning.
Very good pick here from Rebecca for Peyton Manning. So Peyton Manning's episode of Saturday Night Live is my all-time favorite episode in the history of the show. I think he was so fantastic. We got to see him come back to the update desk. Was it last season or 2 seasons ago at some point? Where last season he was like talking about Emily in Paris, and it was just like he just showed how good of a host he was. And I just think everything was clicking on all levels with that Peyton Manning episode. So fantastic pick here from Rebecca. Sammy, what do you think about the Peyton Manning pick to Rebecca here? Number 3.
Yeah, I was waiting for your reaction there because I know it's like one of your favorite episodes personally of all time. So great job, Rebecca, for doing that and just hurting John a little bit there. No, I mean it's when you look back at that era of the show, just so many memorable sketches from that particular episode. He's also still I mean obviously he's still super famous with the Manning cast and everything like that, and they had Miles Teller portray him, last season during the premiere. So I do think bringing him back now would be super interesting. I mean, we've definitely seen athletes kind of come back, kind of past their time, actively, being, playing the sport that they play. So I think it would be really interesting to see him come back and maybe even co-host with his brother, who also hosted SNL in the past. There's different ways you can go about it, but I think this is a very solid pick here.
So Peyton Manning hosted on March 24th, 2007, season 32, episode 16 with musical guest Carrie Underwood. If you want to go back and watch that one, it is definitely worth your time. Bill Kenney, let's go to you for the number 4 overall pick.
What I'd like to do is go back to season 34, the last golden era of the show. This is a person who's still very relevant today. Her show on Disney Plus, Ahsoka, just ended its first season. She had a very, very funny show. I'm talking, of course, about Rosario Dawson. She had The Learning Train with Jason as Harry Connick Jr. She was in the funny Aladdin sketch. Sorry, Pete. And she was in Gilly and The View and a couple other things. She was a great host, and it's way overdue. It's been 15 years. Let's bring Rosario Dawson back.
Yeah, very interesting pick here from Bill Kenney. Rosario Dawson hosted January 17th, 2009, season 34, episode 13 with musical guest Fleet Foxes. And that would be just a fun pull to get her back at the show. Amanda, what do you think of the Rosario Dawson pick here to Bill Kenney for overall?
I'm guessing she was hosting to promote Rent, if that was Fleet Foxes. I fully just went Fleet Foxes. Yeah. I mean, White Winter Hymnal is a bop, don't get me wrong. But I love this pick. I think it's a very, very surprising, but when you said it, I remembered her episode immediately. I think she's also such a versatile actress in general that SNL suits her because it both lets her do things she doesn't normally get to do in her career. like play those types of roles, but also like she just fits into it kind of naturally in this very interesting manner. So I love that. Very good pick from William over here. Yes.
Yes. So if you, I have the press release from January 2009 that says that Dawson can currently be seen in the drama 7 Pounds, in which she stars with Will Smith. So I believe
With Will Smith?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
a throwback.
7 pounds.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's not one
Yeah.
of his better
No
movies.
one saw that
Remember
movie.
Yeah, that is not one of his better movies.
Yeah, so that I believe is what I believe she was promoting at the time. They do mention Rent as well in here in 2005, so I think that would be like a little bit earlier. But yeah, there you go. Okay, great job, Bill. Let's see where TJ is going to go with the next pick 5 overall.
You all are, going all across the place, and you're mentioning some okay people, except for, well, I'm gonna play Lorne, and I'm gonna play favoritism. I'm just gonna pick people I like, but I'm not gonna be Lorne. I'm Black Lorne, Black Lauren Mitchells, and I'm
That's
gonna.
so you're my brother, because my last name is Mitchell. I see. Got it. Cool.
Oh wait, I knew that. Why did I say like I didn't know that?
Because you're always thinking about me because you're obsessed with me.
Are you done? Are you done?
No, I'm finished.
Okay. Y'all finished? Y'all done? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but no. I'm gonna pick my personal favorite person, the person that's literally behind my head right now. I'm gonna bring back Donald Glover and have him host. Like, he's my favorite celebrity. Lil Nas X is a close second. Look, that episode of SNL is one of my it's not my favorite, but it's one of my all-time favorites. It's very up there. Matter of fact, when the Barbie movie came out, I showed Heather the Barbie sketch that he was in, and I went around saying, "Who is Barbie?" Like, there's so many pieces from that episode I truly love. There's a song he did, you could have him as musical guest. Donald Glover is wildly talented, constantly relevant, innovating. The man is more than a triple threat. He's a quadruple threat: singer, actor, rapper, comedian. Like, the man, he's excellent. And I am itching for the day that he steps back into Studio 8H. I would love to see him. So Donald Glover is hosting my season opener.
Yeah, amazing pick here by TJ. So May 5th, 2018, season 43, episode 19 was when Donald Glover hosted, and he also did music as Childish Gambino. And of course, just so many SNL connections, so much sketch comedy that in his blood, basically, where he, worked with Tina Fey on 30 Rock. He was hired as a writer there. Was on Community for a very long time, so has that NBC connection. So it was great to see him on the show. And I personally fell in love with Donald Glover on Derek Comedy when I would watch those sketches on YouTube. Yeah, they were just absolutely fantastic. So love this pick here from TJ. Rebecca, would love to know what you think about the pick here with Donald Glover going 5 overall to TJ.
Well, I'm now updating my list as we're going, and Donald Glover was one of my top 3 contenders for my second round pick because I just love him, and I would like him to do double duty again. So I'm like, we're seeing new music, which we're all waiting for, and then having him pull double duty with the whole confusing the internet that doesn't know Donald Glover and Childish Gambino are the same person. But I've rewatched Community solely for him. I think he's a brilliant comedic actor, and I'm really just missing him on my screen. And I think SNL would be the perfect opportunity. And I also want him to release music. So putting that out there that I want him to do double duty in this ideal draft from TJ. Awesome, awesome pick. And I'm jealous you got him.
I mean, honestly, who couldn't see it coming?
Well, yes.
All right, Victoria, over to you for pick number 6.
Okay, so I'm just going to be honest. I did not prep for this. I saw the list and I was like, you know what? As I do on stage, I'm going to improvise, and I'm just going to pick people I like as people, performers, whatevers. And we're going to jive. We're going to see what happens. So, this is on probably no one's list, and that's fine. But, background, when my parents first came to the United States, they lived in Chicago, and this person was a really big part of their welcome to America, welcome home, baby. And he's an influence on my brothers, and he's also an influence on me. I have a picture and a quote of him at my desk at work just to motivate me. And it is the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Michael Jordan.
Wow. All
Yep.
right. That's,
My birthday is the 23rd, and this is a full brag. John Legend told me I have a Jordan birthday. Thank you.
Oh,
My birthday is
okay.
also the 23rd.
Slay Jordan birthdays.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Michael
absolutely incredible.
and
Wasn't he
Michael
a
Jordan.
really mean host? Wasn't he a
I
I
really
watched
bad
Air
host?
last night. I love this book.
Let Victoria say her spiel.
Yeah, thank you. Let a woman speak. No, what's it called? I don't care if he was mean. He's the best at what he does. You know, I hope if he were to come back, he's like, you know what? More Jordans. That's what we're doing. Or his daughter, or his son gets married to Larsa on stage. I don't care how he comes back if he comes back. And his youngest daughter, just like my parents' youngest, is named Victoria. So what are you gonna do? The economy is rough. You gotta choose. You gotta choose.
So just to clarify, Victoria, there are 2 Michael Jordans on the board. You're picking the one
mhm.
that you're picking the Chicago
Correct your
Bulls.
pick.
Yeah, just kind of talk about Michael
Friday
A.
Night Lights.
I'm talking about Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Yes, of course.
She's talking
Yeah.
about the Bulls.
Of course, just to clarify for the listeners. So on September 28th, 1991, season 17, episode 1, the greatest basketball player of all time hosted Saturday Night Live. And it was incredible
TJ.
to get to and it was incredible to get to see him with musical guest Public Enemy. It was really fun to have him there. Of course, very memorable episode to see Michael Jordan with Bill's favorite recurring character, Stuart Smalley. So, but that episode is a lot of fun. It's more fun than funny, but it's still really cool to have Michael Jordan there hosting the show, and reminds you of like the power of SNL to bring in such a force there. So, Bill, I will ask you, what do you think of this pick here, Michael Jordan to Victoria at 6 overall?
LeBron James would like a word. No, listen. No,
Bring
we
him.
won't
Thank
get
you.
this. That's a
Bring-
different
No,
podcast.
no.
Thumbs up.
LeBron James would like about 4 more rings.
Hey-oh. All right.
He has a
No,
point.
it was a fun episode. Stuart Smalley aside, it's hard to imagine somebody as famous as Jordan coming back. At the time, I think he had only won 1 championship. I mean, he was still one of the greatest players at that point. But with the 6 rings, and now it's way past. I mean, I would love for him to come back just so he would do the crying meme in a sketch. Like that would be fantastic. Yeah, this is a great pick, great season. So wouldn't mind seeing him come back.
Yeah, maybe he'd promote his very successful stint as owner of the Charlotte Hornets. You never know.
Take it easy.
But okay, different podcast. All right. Well, look, I just have to say, incredible Christmas present you all gave me. You just like handed me the draft, and I really, really appreciate it. So I just want to thank Amanda and Sammy and Rebecca and Bill and TJ and Victoria for giving me this gift, because I cannot believe at the 7th overall pick, I'm going to be just handed on a silver platter Taylor Swift. So,
God, fuck, damn it.
What?
Thank you.
That's not where I thought
God
you were going.
damn
at
it.
all.
I would never.
I had her pretty high. She was going to be
I
my
wouldn't
second.
pick.
That's
I
who I
wouldn't.
was
He's a
referencing.
great
When I,
host.
that's who I was
Couldn't be
referencing
me.
when I was talking to Sammy
Yeah.
about the only
That's
other person I would have taken instead of Conan.
Great host.
Really?
Great host.
So, yeah, I just want to thank you all because, appreciate. Oh no, they're already voting for me right now. I could just see it. I
know.
went on November 7th, 2009. Taylor Swift was the host and musical guest for season 35, episode 5, and did great double duty, and wasn't even, the levels of fame that she is remotely close to now. And she has been a huge staple of the show. I honestly, like, all jokes aside, cannot believe she has only hosted the show once. She must have been asked to host like a million times, but if they ever could get her back, in my, drafting world, they are able to get her back. So there you go. Taylor Swift, 7 overall. TJ, what do you think of the pick?
I'm very jealous because, fun fact, Taylor Swift has she's one of my all-time favorites as well. She's probably in my top 10. I think about the sketch she did with Nassim Pajad where she plays those annoying roommates, or the one of my personal all-time favorites is she did a sketch where she plays a teenager named Samantha Samuels who talks about the risks of parents driving. That is at the time I think I was 16 or 17 when I saw that sketch, and still find it funny to this day. But as a 17-year-old whose mom annoyed him at the time, you couldn't get any better than like her doing this. Yeah, she is very funny. I gotta give her credit where credit's due. She's one of my favorite SNL hosts. So great pick.
Yeah, I mean it's objectively a very good episode of Saturday Night Live. So I definitely would love to see what they could do with her if she was to come back.
Can you sing the bridge to Cruel Summer right now, John?
I want him to sing the monologue song.
The like
that's a good one too. Monologue.
Yeah, that was good.
La la.
Yeah, see, it was a good episode. There'd be lots.
I back you up. Yeah, a completely great episode.
Would SNL not get the most views they've ever gotten?
Yes, but sometimes it's a really good episode. The second one's not going to be as good, so end on a high. I'm taking that into consideration.
But it's Taylor Swift now. That would be huge. Like if she was hosting, like Taylor Swift. Like you imagine if they like after Jacob Elordi, they're like Taylor Swift is come. Like that's. It's like when Kim Kardashian.
I think she's going to be busy with the Super Bowl potentially that week, but it is after the Jacob Elordi week. No, she might be watching it this week. But yeah, it's but it would be very funny. Honestly, more views for that episode potentially than that watched the Nancy Kerrigan episode back in 1994. It could be very fun. All right, Haynes, I stole your pick, but you have 2 in a row here. So let's see what you go with at number 8.
Yeah, you totally stole my pick. I was also blown away that she kept falling down the list, but I knew you were too savvy to let that one pass by. So, yeah,
I would have picked her 1.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, even over Peyton?
I would have picked her over Peyton Manning. Yeah, for sure.
Oh wow!
Travis Kelce's still on the board.
It's smart. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like who I want to see come back. It's just like who I think should come back.
The way I was thinking about this draft is like we're not picking people like like Michael Douglas in his prime or something. Like we're picking people right now. So if I'm picking right now, yeah, Taylor Swift would be number 1. She would just blow the place out of the water. Okay, so that being said, I got so focused on Taylor Swift and just we were having such great conversation, I really forgot to come up with any picks. So right now, I do have the opportunity. And first of all, I want to clarify something. I let out a really hearty laugh when John said, that's really special, referring to Victoria's story. I thought he was being sarcastic and talking to Amanda and Sammy because they had both just been like, my birthday's the 23rd. My birthday's the 23rd too. And he's like, well, that's really special. And that's what I was laughing at, not Victoria's story.
I do need to say, I also thought Victoria was going to pick Oprah when she said Chicago. First, I just need you to know. Before she said the pronoun he, I was like, ooh, she's going for Harpo. Love that.
Harpo Studios. Long live.
Yes.
I love Harpo, but I kill him dead before I let him. Sorry.
All right, Haynes, make a pick.
Well, I got 2 of them, and first I'm going to say, I mean, this person was just so amazing. The time that he hosted, it's former cast member, incredibly well loved, very popular. Just has a show that just wrapped up. Very popular, and he had an incredible moment of improvisation during a sketch that is just so memorable. So that will be Mr. Jason Sudeikis.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. He was next up on my board. So,
this is what I thought John's pick was when he gave the whole thing, and then when it was Taylor Swift, I was extra shook because I thought it was going to be Jason.
Of course, I wanted to pick Jason, but I'm saying I couldn't not pick Taylor. Yeah, pretty much. So Jason Sudeikis, believe it or not, was at Saturday Night Live last week where he brought the whole cast of Ted Lasso to watch Kate McKinnon perform at Saturday Night Live. And they were all there. They took a photo on home base. I could definitely see Jason Sudeikis returning to host the show very soon. He hosted only a couple years back on October 23rd, 2021, in what, in my opinion, is probably a top 5 alumni episode in the history of the show. So just a fantastic pick here by Haynes. Sammy, what do you think of Jason Sudeikis going to Haynes here?
Yeah, Jason was very, very high on my draft board. One of my favorite cast members of all time. His episode was just, it was great to see him come back, especially when, during that same season, the Will Forte episode was a little disappointing. So the fact that, the Sudeikis episode really delivered was great. Obviously Ted Lasso is over now, but, I'm sure he'll have other projects in the future to promote, but he also feels like now that he's like come back and done like the first gig, like at this point, he doesn't really need an excuse to come back and promote something. So I think it's a very solid pick here.
Very good pick. All right, first round is up. We have Nicole Kidman going to Amanda, Conan going to Sammy, Peyton Manning to Rebecca, Rosario Dawson to Bill, Donna Glover to TJ, Michael Jordan to Victoria, Taylor Swift to me, and Sudeikis over to Haynes. Haynes, let's kick off the second round of the draft. We're going to go with pick number 9.
Yeah, so I'm having a little trouble here because I'm thinking about someone who had, I think, really an absolutely incredible episode when they came back, and it had been quite a long time since they had been in Studio 8H. I'm also thinking about someone else who I really, really love, and I know that John really, really loves. So it'd be fun just to take him in case John's thinking about it right now. But as Sammy just said, some people didn't think his episode was that great. I think he needs another chance. I'm taking Will Forte.
Nice. That's
bring him back.
Very, very solid. Yeah, I mean, this was very cool. I mean, the pairing, by the way, of you having Jason Sudeikis and Will Forte both host again, could be very exciting for all of us. But yes, of course, Will Forte also hosted a couple of years ago, and it was just so cool to have him. I know he's wanted to come back for the longest time and do that. And a very unique episode, January 22nd, 2022, where he hosted with musical guest Mona Skin. And it was. God.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was it was weird. I mean, it was the Will Forte and Kristen Wiig show. I had a lot of fun with it, but it was not everybody's cup of tea. So I think it's a fascinating pick here because I do think he could use another shot at hosting. He is one of the funniest people to ever walk the Studio 8H stage. So Victoria, what do you think of Will Forte going to Haynes here, number 9?
It's a solid pick. I like the pick. He wasn't on my list. Well, I didn't have one. So, and I also would love nothing more than for John's dreams to come true. And so if it makes John happy, I'm happy.
You guys are so nice.
That's my son. That's my son. Yeah.
Yeah, you gave me Taylor Swift and you're making me happy. So thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Well, I'm up next with the 10th overall pick. There's a couple of picks that are like, I've thought about trolling here, but I think I'm going to be serious and pick the one that I think that people have been clamoring for to come back. I think it would be a great choice. So somebody came back to the show a few years back and just crushed it on the show, and somebody that people were asking to host for a very long time. And I think that it's about time that we see him come back a second time. So give me the one, the only, Adam Sandler to come and host a second time at Saturday Night Live. Hosted May 4th, 2019 with musical guest Shawn Mendes, season 44, episode 19. And I think it's about time. I think we got to make this happen again. He was so great. Just seriously had some amazing sketches that night. I think it was like as good as it gets with one of those shows, and especially in like a season that like wasn't highly regarded, one of the best of that era. So for me, gotta go with Adam Sandler here at the 10th overall pick. Rebecca, you seem to like that pick. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's a disgrace that he was second round pick. I thought that one was really going to go first round because also with his Netflix deal, he's been cranking out content, and I feel like maybe it hasn't been super well received, so he might use some good press. So I was kind of shocked that we haven't seen him back on SNL in a while. I love Adam Sandler. I was going to choose him in this next round because I was shocked he was still available, but I think he's great. I also could see him with Please Don't Destroy doing something really good. And then with him and Sarah Sherman already have the, like, You're So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah. They have a relationship. I was shocked we didn't see him promote that this season, even after the strike and everything. I thought it would have been a great opportunity. I kind of hope they're saving that one for season 50 then, because I think now is as good a time as any for him to be back on the show.
All right, Victoria, you kicked off your draft with picking MJ 6 overall. Where are you going to go next?
I was going to choose Adam Sandler, but that's fine. Enjoy.
Can I jump in for 1 second here? Because that is who I was talking about when I was debating between Will Forte and Adam Sandler. That's who I was debating between. And it was actually Sammy's comment that just brought out like the coach, mentor, teacher like vibe, that I'm like that type of person that I was like, you know what? Let's get the most out of Will. Let's get the most out of Will. So like that was what gave you Adam Sandler there.
And honestly, Will Forte as a coach is maybe the best character in SNL history. So great job, Haynes. Victoria, over to you.
Okay, so again, I'm a little overwhelmed by this list, and I'm trying to think here. So you mentioned Taylor Swift, and this person is a buddy, and I actually think they would be great as host and then Taylor Swift as musical guest, and that would be Ryan Reynolds. I think he's fun. We can do like a fun Mint Mobile commercial. with,
God, those commercials are everywhere.
He's not using Mint Mobile.
I know, right?
No
damn way.
No, but I've heard great things about Mint Mobile. I've heard it's poppin'. So yeah, I think that there's something there. Everyone thinks he's attractive, which and I think maybe with Taylor Swift, since they're pals, it could be a good duo.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, Ryan Reynolds, part of that dinner crew, I believe that they all hang out together. Amanda, what do you think of the Ryan Reynolds pick? So Ryan Reynolds coming back to host for the second time. His first time hosting was October 3rd, 2009, season 35, episode 2. So actually pretty close to when Taylor did host the show 3 episodes earlier. And he hosted with musical guest Lady Gaga. So what do you think, Amanda?
Wow. What a time to be alive that episode was. Wow. Was that Lady? I'm assuming that was Gaga's first time out. I would rather. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted.
That was Lady Gaga's first time as musical guest on Saturday Night Live.
I love Stephanie Germanotta more than a lot of things. So this is a great pick. I think he's perfectly suited in the second round because I don't think people would pick him in the first. But I think he's a solid dude. People trust him. They know him. Some people like him. And some people like his wife. I mean, he also got married on a plantation, but that's in the past, as was the plantation.
You know what?
So
and slavery.
Yeah, very that. So we're supposed to forget about it, remember? And and he's Canadian. So honestly, I'm going to be pro this section on Jon's behalf because we have almost no Canadian representation.
Don't associate me with him now.
I know.
Jon pulls out a Mint Mobile phone.
I said, I was like, I'm coming. I'm just going to see how I can transition this.
You're getting married soon, right, Jon?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Ryan Reynolds is officiating because all the Canadians know each other. Obviously,
you just ripped my heart out, Amanda. Now I don't want to be associated with that.
It's fine. I think Ryan Reynolds is a perfectly suitable person. He owns
Did he
a
know
soccer
it was
team.
a plantation?
Right.
He's like straight men's catnip.
Yeah,
they always
definitely
know.
knew.
They always know. They always know.
They definitely knew, and it took him almost a decade to apologize for it, even though we were called out for it all the time. So
can I change? Because I don't want to be associated
No,
with
you cannot.
I've said I forgive. I'm a woman capable of forgiveness.
Also, I'm sure that many of the white people on this list have done some racist shit. Look, Amanda and I are here. We're fine. We're moving on.
Our memories are long. We never forget. But
that's true. I know that's right.
But
Victoria's going to look up every single pick and be like, plantation question mark.
So it's still racist.
First of all, I have to do this for my job. Legitimately, I have to do it all the time. Like X person controversy.
I'm reading the article.
I think he is a perfectly affable, agreeable, sustainable comedic actor who absolutely surrounds himself with people who are funnier than he is.
Sustainable, like he's energy saving.
There's no other SNN podcaster who you could have given so much anxiety to the way that you just did with Victoria. She's just complete.
Well, I knocked over my ring light in the process, so that's what I get for hating. So
it's an appropriate thing to hate. It's not.
All right. Well, let's.
Slavery?
I do not condemn.
You don't condemn or condone?
Wait, you don't
condone.
Yeah.
Wait, no, I don't condone plantations, weddings.
Victoria is fine. You're fine.
Victoria's I'm not going to sit here and condemn plantations.
Amanda are can you believe the views? Can I get my pick, please?
All right. Well, okay. So let's keep going with
upset.
TJ. Victoria's team
I'm
is
sorry. I didn't do it on purpose.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay. Victoria proudly picks Michael Jordan and Ryan Reynolds. TJ, over to you. You picked Donald Glover. Who are you going to pick at pick number 12?
There's going to be a lot of great people that I want that are going to get picked, but I'm going to go for what I feel like is a very. Oh, I don't care. Like, I'll deal with it. I like honestly, if like Dave Chappelle was on this list, I would pick him too. Like, I don't care. But I'm going to pick somebody that is very lovable and somebody I've been rewatching. I said what I said. I said exactly what I said. But I'm somebody that is I've been rewatching a lot right now, and if I'm being honest, somebody that he was close to recently passed, and it was very sad to hear about this. And that has nothing to do with him hosting, but he's a wonderful person. He's musical. He had a long running sitcom on NBC and Fox, and I cannot believe that you, as he would say, Jags, would let this man float on by. I'm going to pick Andy Samberg to come on in and host another episode of Saturday Night Live. I cannot believe you morons let me get like a former cast member. Andy Samberg, let alone it be Andy. The fact that he's only hosted once is honestly like insane, right? Like that. It's not just me. I know he's cameoed. He did a cameo for Natalie Portman's episode. I think in 2018 was the last time we saw him on the show. But Andy Samberg is wonderful, and I've just been rewatching Brooklyn Nine-Nine after the very sad passing of Andre Braugher. Very, very sad passing. And just I've loved Andy from The Lonely Island to Pop Star to Brooklyn Nine-Nine to Palm Springs on Hulu. By the way, great movie. If you have like good Groundhog Day reboot. But just shout out to Andy Samberg. So he's gonna be my second pick.
Yeah, there you go. Andy Samberg to TJ at number 12, hosted May 17th, 2014, season 39, episode 21, with musical guest St. Vincent. Had his bar mitzvah on a plantation.
That's so, oh my God. That could not have been timed better. Victoria left. Amanda is applauding, and honestly, I want to too. That is incredible. Wow. I mean, Andy Samberg does love hip hop a lot, so I figured he had to have done something to harm black people at some point.
Hopefully, hopefully not.
Yeah,
but
you can't spend that much time with Justin Timberlake and not have.
Okay, well, let's not do that. No JT slander here.
I love every ounce of this.
Yes,
I love how he's married, but like we talked, instead of a wedding, the callback was to his bar mitzvah. That was so good.
I mean, he's kind of. I feel like he's like a lifelong kid in a little bit. Like there's something, of course and I don't mean this in an insult. I mean, there's something very like. There's something kind of beautiful in Andy Samberg that there's always this youngness at heart. Even though like he's a dad, he successfully produces. He's very much an adult man, but there is something that's still so gleeful in him that I think sometimes, like if you're watching a sitcom, it's so nice to look at Jake Peralta, and even though this man's supposed to be a cop and he's talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, there is just something also so like calming about Andy Samberg's presence, even when he puts his dick in a box. Like I don't know, maybe it's just me.
100%. I love Andy Samberg, one of my favorite cast members of all time. It was so exciting to get him to host the finale of season 39, episode 21, where he comes back and we get some favorites come back with him, Seth Meyers, Bill Hader. It was just a great time to have him there, and brought a lot back there. And I think, honestly, if his name popped up, like I think everyone would go nuts. They'd be so excited that Andy Samberg would be coming back to host the show. Bill, what do you think of the Andy Samberg pick here?
Haynes started the run on former cast members, and it's shocking the amount of one-time host cast members, and Samberg is definitely up there. It was a great episode, a lot of fun stuff with Adie and Kate. He did 2 digital shorts in that episode, which were fantastic. So despite the fact that the vocal checks came back, I will give him a pass and let him come back. So yeah, great pick.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I could do without the vocal checks. Like I could do without them.
They can always come back. They can always come back
for me.
No,
yeah, I love it.
I can't. Really, post COVID, you could still watch them now.
I mean, they're not kissing me. So
I can't get COVID through the screen.
Bill, pick number 13. Over to you. You picked Rosario Dawson first. Where are you going to go next?
I'm going to avoid trying to pick a cast member because it would be very easy to just load up on them. And I'm going to go with one of the most famous people on the planet, a fantastic actor who hosted in infamous season 20, never came back, didn't cameo, hasn't done anything. I'm going with George Clooney. He had a fun episode. It was one of the better episodes of that season. The SeaWorld thing with Farley and Janine Garofalo, where Farley keeps getting douched with water. Taxi Cab Confessions with Tim Meadows, an ER joke. So it would be fun to see somebody who was just really starting to get into superstardom at that point, see him come back now that he's one of the most famous people on the planet. And I don't believe he got married on a plantation. So win-win.
Yes. Great job, George Clooney. That was, I believe, Molly Shannon's first episode as a cast member where we get to see her appear in the monologue. So season 20, episode 14, February 25th, 1995, with musical guest, The Cranberries. That's a good throwback there. But yeah, a lot of fun to see George Clooney at the show. I do remember watching this episode. I'm like, wow, that is a huge name to come in at the end of a very weird season of Saturday Night Live. And I think he definitely deserves another shot. He was more, I think he was really big on ER at the time, Bill, right? Is that right? Yeah, I think that's what it was. So
yeah, it was first season of ER, which had blown up. Yes.
Yeah. So just incredible to get him back now, knowing what he's done in his career since then. Amanda, what do you think of George Clooney? Do we have to brace ourselves?
I mean, I'm a Casamigo. How about that? I am here for, first of all, George gets everybody. Like, George will bring in the people. The cameos you would get for a George episode would be immaculate in this day and age. They would be perfection. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I love George. I didn't even realize George had hosted, and it feels like one of those, like, yeah, of course he did at that peak and stage of his career. I mean, that first peak, I guess, of his career. I love him. I love George, and I love them all, and I love their twins. And they got married, I believe, in Italy. So
I just
not
have one
great,
question.
but it's better.
Italy is safe, right? We're all cool with Italy?
No, Italy is racist as hell.
Yeah, I
Are
was
you
gonna
kidding
say
me?
it is.
It's incredibly racist.
They got
Hey,
married on in Lake
as an
Como.
Italian man on this panel, I take insult to that.
You're
Really?
Italian
They get your people.
American.
They get your people
All right,
there.
all right.
But I do have a question. I actually have a question about Clooney.
Okay.
Do we
Can I
think,
call
like,
him
Clooney,
Clooney?
Clooney, we put in that same class as Brad Pitt of, like, mega famous. But I think that's because a lot of us were, like, very aware of, like, pop culture, especially in the 2000s, maybe even the early 2010s. Do we think Gen Z, Rebecca, I'm going to go to you, does Gen Z care about Clooney? Although Rebecca's pretty tuned in. I need somebody who's, like, less tuned in to know if Gen Z
Haynes.
cares about Clooney like we do.
I'm definitely
I'm
not
pretty
tuned in.
sure they know him as the other guy in Casamigos.
What is
other than
Casamigos?
Kaya Gerber's dad.
Who's
Like, that's
Kaya
how they,
Gerber?
Tequila brand.
yeah, Tequila brand, which is owned by
Who's Kaya
Randy
Gerber?
Kaya Gerber, Randy
Is that like
Gerber,
the
and
baby
Cindy
brand?
Crawford's daughter,
Oh, I want to make
Wait,
sure
hang
we
on.
have
in
Cindy
enough time.
Bottoms,
Cindy Crawford,
Yes.
the model?
who is dating last season host Austin Butler.
Austin Butler
Yeah.
was not that good of a host. Like, he's disrespected Sesame.
It was
Okay,
a Cecily
let's
Strong
stay on
episode,
task
but
here.
anyway,
All
I'm
right.
just saying. Casamigo.
Rebecca, let's get your pick. 14 overall. So you picked Peyton Manning in the first round. Where are you going to go next?
Yes. So there is no better offense than a good defense. I was definitely going to do Andy Samberg. In part one, I think it's an awesome pick, but two, I knew in the next two picks, Sammy would have picked him for sure in the next going around. She is not my second round pick, although she would have been my third or fourth. But since Amanda was already hinting at it and stopped herself, I am going to pick Lady Gaga as my host pick for this. She was on my list, so but then you were leaning towards it, so I was like, I don't have any chance of getting her after you pick two people. So I'm going to pick Lady Gaga. One, I think she has fully refined her acting since she was the host of the show. And I mean, I love her. Anytime she's on a screen, I see it. I mean, I'm foreseeing this could happen. I'm surprised it didn't happen with House of Gucci or A Star Is Born or just anything in the past few years that's happened with Lady Gaga. She is someone that I would camp out to go see online as either a host or a musical guest, but another double duty hope from me. And yeah, I just, again, a little weird second round pick. However, I think she would be awesome now that she actually is an actress and would be a really good pick, but very defensive pick. I'm sorry, Amanda.
All right, Lady Gaga goes here at number 14 overall to Rebecca. Lady Gaga hosted on November 16th, 2013, season 39, episode 6, with somebody who will for sure go in the one-time musical guest draft, R. Kelly. Where
Actually, he was on the show again in 2015. He appeared with Chance the Rapper when he did his.
But he wasn't the musical.
Like
but that's the Yeba. I think of that as the Yeba performance, TJ. That's the one with Yeba and Chance the Rapper, where she's never mind. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Yes, but Lady Gaga had a really fun episode here. Really enjoyed her. I do think of her a lot when she was the musical guest. I think it was for the Justin Timberlake episode, and then she appeared in What's That Name? She was so fantastic in that as well. So she's really, really great when she's on the show. So great pick here from Rebecca. Victoria, did you like the Lady Gaga pick from Rebecca?
Are you sure about that?
Are you okay?
Yes.
He has a song with R. Kelly.
Anyway, I do love Lady Gaga. Stephanie Germanotta's queen. She's also a March birthday. And I totally agree. Since like A Star Is Born, American Horror Story and all that, like she's really been in her acting bag, and I think she'd be a great host. And like she is New York, so she'd bring that energy to the show.
All right. Great pick here from Rebecca. Sammy, you've been waiting a long time. You picked Conan second overall. Where are you going to go with pick number 15?
Yeah, this is tough because, Rebecca, we are on the same wavelength. I was thinking about picking Lady Gaga here, so I kind of had to pivot to someone else who's still pretty high up on my draft board. But as far as, cast members who have hosted only once, I feel like I want to pick this person. It's kind of funny because I'm pretty sure I picked him in our 2-season or less draft as well. So I'm going to go with Robert Downey Jr. here for my second pick. Somebody who I'm just like totally shocked that throughout his Marvel career, like never came back to host. It'd be different if maybe he had bad blood with the show, but obviously he came back to host in the mid-90s. And he's just one of the biggest stars in the world and is getting a lot of Oscar buzz right now for his performance in Oppenheimer, which is great. He can do comedy, he can do drama. And, would love to, continue to, bring him back to poke fun at what is, notoriously one of the worst seasons in the show's history. So for all those reasons, I'm picking RDJ here for my second pick.
There you go. Robert Downey Jr. to Sammy at 15 overall. So Robert Downey Jr. previously hosted the show November 16th, 1996, season 22, episode 6 with musical guest Fiona Apple. And it could be really fun to get him back at a way different stage of his life. I am surprised as well they weren't able to get him during his Iron Man stage. And just the fact that he was a cast member on the show for a year, just one of the fun facts for casual SNL fans. They're like, what? And it was a very fascinating season. So I would love to see him complete that arc by coming back one more time. Great pick here by Sammy. Haynes, what do you think of the pick?
Amazing pick. Sorry, who did he just pick?
Robert Downey Jr.
Okay, sorry. I did hear him say that, but
That's
after he started talking about it, no, I'm being dead serious. After he started talking about it, I was just like I was just getting really into my list for a second. Listen, Robert Downey Jr., obviously super popular. Huge with the Marvel franchise. Obviously was in a ton of movies before that I saw growing up. Very, very popular, very talented, very smooth, funny, charming guy. I think he's fantastic as a host. Obviously I'm sure this got mentioned in the little bit where I was tuned out, not the best cast member, but a fantastic host. Maybe he could get his uncle to write him a few lines.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. All right, Amanda, back to you. You picked first overall, Nicole Kidman. You have back-to-back picks here. Where are you going to go pick number 16?
Oh, God. I got back-to-back picks? I wasn't prepared for that part. Oh,
yeah, you got 2 coming up.
Okay, Slay. And that when I say Slay in December, I'm talking about Santa. I'm not talking about in like the RuPaul kind of way. I'm not honestly, this list is looking it's a little 8.5 by 11. It's a little alabaster. It's like a little too ivory for me, in just the terms of our picks. So I need to add a little color, a little flavor, and especially because, in my opinion, not only was this one of the best episodes that we got last season, but also for a first-time host, just an incredible game-changing episode, career-defining episode. It also caused a viral moment on TikTok, which adds to the longevity of SNL, which is what they really want in this day and age. So my pick is Miss Lauren Kiana Palmer.
Fuck.
Keke Palmer. She is my pick. I'm picking her because she was excellent. She was a perfect host. She's a perfect woman. She deserves everything in the world. I hope that man goes to jail. I hope she gets all the rights in the world. She, John, I feel like I was here to talk about this episode, and you have to remind me because my brain is flat. But it was, I love her, and I think she needs to be an early pick on this board. She deserves it. She was one of the best recent hosts we've had in the past few seasons, if not the best one. Let's talk about it, but whatever, come for me. And yeah, that's why. And also, I love Black women.
Well, that makes sense. Picking mother here, Keke Palmer, who just, had that huge moment in the monologue, where we got to reveal the pregnancy live on air. And it was just really great. Big Boy is obviously a huge moment from last year. So Keke Palmer hosted December 3rd, 2022, season 48, episode 7, with musical guest SZA. TJ, what do you think of that pick?
I think two things. One, I love how every time you were mentioning the musical guests for a lot of these, like, I feel like most of these musical guests, I'm like, are we still thinking about it? Except for maybe like the Cranberries. But like you mentioned SZA, I'm like, okay, like, yeah, SZA still has some pop. Also, Måneskin, ugh. But like this was gonna be my next pick because what's so annoying about, Amanda, feel free to check my list. But what's so annoying about being Black is I'm also thinking I got to make sure there's some color in there. I'm thinking that actively as I'm looking at the list, on top of thinking, oh, who do I just like or who do I want to host? I'm actively thinking diversity, which is like so like annoying, but also like just like ingrained in me.
It's DEI training. It's ingrained in us from day one.
Literally my job. But on top of that, Keke was a phenomenal host. You know what's so funny? Keke was such a good host. I forgot Big Boys was a piece of her episode. I forgot that the pregnancy was a piece of it. I just remember the energy and like the Hello Kitty sketch.
Good Burger, which led to Good Burger.
No, Keenan and Kelly. Like, there were. Wait, do we really think that? No.
I think Keenan and Kelly led to getting Good Burger 2 get greenlit. Absolutely.
It would have had to have been filmed. That's besides the point. But like
that had to be lined up years in advance.
It had at least a year of advance. But I think it was an excellent monologue. I think that was just such a fun, electric episode. And she was just great. Like to see her go from Keela and the Bee and True Jackson VB to like where she is now, and not even SNL being the hype, but just that was gonna be my next pick because I was like, I need to make. I just Amanda got it, and I like as she started talking, I was like, man, I'm about to throw my hat on the floor. But well done.
Also,
well done.
Shout out. This is not SNL related, but it is Keke Palmer related. Her song "Bottoms Up" was my MySpace song for a solid year. So,
yes. No, I literally at every bar bat mitzvah would do the rap for it, and like that's how I made friends in middle school.
Oh wow!
I was more of
a Mitchell Musso and Jonas Brothers guy when I was younger. I forgot about Kiki's.
Mitchell
All right,
Musso.
Amanda, let's kick off round 3.
He was got Oliver on Hannah Montana.
Okay, let's keep going.
All I gotta say, every bar mitzvah I went to, I danced to "Yeah" by Usher. So speaking of Keke Palmer,
yeah. He was like sexy back.
Very that.
All right. Amanda,
and I'm back to back.
Yeah, you got Nicole Kidman and Keke Palmer. Where are you going to go with your third pick, 17 overall?
I had so many thoughts, and I truly like, because I'm playing this game in terms of just like, I do what I want, you know, I do what I want, and I live by my own rules and like whatever. So sometimes I'm like, yes, I go for the feasible and the plausible and who I would really want to return. And I also went for who I'm sexually attracted to, but that's a later round pick. Duh. I mean, I'm so sorry. Who thirst traps more on this podcast more than Amanda Mitchell? No one. But anyway, it's true. Bobby, watch out, babes. JAJ, watch out. But anyway, my main point is that I'm still gonna play for both my people who I enjoyed watching host, people I know had a good experience hosting, people who I liked, who I had great experiences with. I don't have a lot of past host well, I do. That's true. But I picked this one specifically because I love her. And keeping my track of picking Black women, I'm picking Meg Thee Stallion. Because in my opinion, Miss Mother is one of the best dual hosts we've ever had in this. And if we should have had her as Meg, her first name Meg, and then Meg Thee Stallion, like dual host, host thing. That would have been fun. But that's just for me thinking I'm hilarious. But I love this show when you can tell the host is having the most fun. And that to me is a rewarding experience for pretty much the audience and for the cast members and everyone involved. And Meg had a decent episode. It wasn't a great episode, but the moments that were good were really good. And she was just so happy, grateful, thrilled to be there. It was a celebration. She's everything. And I want her to have, and also she was great in Dix the Musical, by the way. If you haven't watched it, please watch it. So I think, yes, everyone, Megan Thee Stallion, let's go.
I have a feeling we might see her January 20th.
We will see her January
very
20th,
strong.
Yeah, I can confirm
confirmed
that she's expected to be
with
in a
Renee
musical
Rapp.
performance with Renee Rapp. Yeah,
yes, that's what
that's
I
all
was
I can
saying.
spoil. That's been out there.
I really like that song too.
Okay, I didn't know that was a fact, but I was like, I have especially if Renee's going on there.
I'm going. I'm trying to go. I'm trying to go.
Wait, me too, Amanda.
Can we go?
Let's talk.
Yeah, I want to go.
Okay. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
Let's talk about Megan Thee Stallion, who was picked here 17th overall, October 15th, 2022. She hosted as double duty with season 48, episode 3. So could we see her back as host again? Certainly, if we know she's coming into the building soon, that's always a possibility. So, Rebecca, you clearly are excited. Were you excited about the pick here from Amanda?
Yeah, so I think she was really great and loved it. And I would honestly think she would be that much better because I think she's one of those people that doesn't have a ton of like acting experience and all of that. And after the ripping the Band-Aid moment of hosting once, I think we would see her, especially if will then have been at the building twice. I feel like we could see her in a sketch. I wouldn't be shocked if Renee Rapp, of all people, like all first-time musical guests, would be in a sketch. And then I feel like we could also see Megan one as well. So I think her coming back to host would be not only amazing, but I think she'd be that much more comfortable to actually be there and like really dive into it. Because yes, it was a pretty mid episode, but I think we could have a great episode now with her not only exposure to the world, comfort with Bowen from Dix the Musical, and more on the comedy scene. I think she would just do that much better as a second-time host. So I would love to see it. But I don't know if we'll see it that soon, especially if we now know she'll be on the next episode.
Sammy Kay, you have Conan and RDJ on your team. Where are you going to go with pick number 16? Pick number 18.
This is tough. I have a lot of different avenues here of where I want to go, but I think I'm going to kind of strike while the iron's hot with somebody who recently made a cameo at SNL. Somebody who hosted probably one of the more memorable episodes last season, was a fantastic host. I'm going with Pedro Pascal here for my third pick. One of the biggest stars in the world currently with The Last of Us. He's rumored to be in the new Fantastic Four movie. And overall, just his episode that he hosted was so good. The mom sketch that he did and that he brought back with Bad Bunny is, I think, going to go down as kind of a classic sketch, especially when you're looking at Marcelo's career on the show. And I just have this feeling that he's a future friend of the show, somebody who, I could see come back, time and time again, and somebody who I feel like is going to come back really soon. So for all those reasons, I'm going to pick Pedro Pascal here for number 3, my third pick.
There you go. Pedro Pascal picked number 18 overall, hosted on February 4th, 2023, is currently nominated for an Emmy for his work on Saturday Night Live, and we got to see him come back during the Bad Bunny episode, musical guest Coldplay on that episode. So this is a great pick, beloved host, I believe. So Bill, what did you think of the pick here from Sammy, Pedro Pascal at 18?
Yeah, fantastic pick. Future 5-timer, if we're being honest. And out of everything last year, I would put, there's only 3 that I have on my list that I would bring back so soon. And Kiki was one of them. Pedro is another one of them. I won't mention the third yet. But I think that was one of the best episodes we've had in quite a while. He was clearly made to be on SNL as a host. He fits that Timberlake, Adam Driver mold where he fits right in with the cast. So love to see him come back very soon.
All right, Rebecca, you have Peyton Manning and Lady Gaga on your team. Would love to know where you're going to go with pick number 19.
I'm so excited that she's still on the board. She was going to be my second round pick. No offense to Lady Gaga. I think she was in a dark time, which was 2020, when we all were in a dark time, and SNL being season 46 was a little rough. She got me in like one of her first sentences in the monologue as like, this is going to be an epic episode. As she started off saying, I'm the first Black woman to host SNL, y'all. I'm shocked she's still here. I need to see her in the future. And as we know, I could foresee her in this. She's a sketch comedy legend, Issa Rae. I would love to see her again. God. I really am shocked she was still here, but I think 2020 is obviously a low time for everyone. And her episode was my favorite of season 46, and I think it will only be that much better now when the world just gone back to semi-normal.
All right, Issa Rae goes here to Rebecca. October 17th, 2020, we saw Issa Rae, season 46, episode 3 with musical guest Justin Bieber. And yeah, I mean, I would love to see Issa Rae come back because obviously she hosts during a time where there was all these COVID restrictions in place. She wasn't in that many sketches that episode. I think it was like, for modern times, very low. She was in maybe like 4 or 5 sketches. Like that's it for the night. And I think that we could see so much more from Issa Rae if she was to come back to host the show. So TJ, you seem pretty excited by the pick and disappointed you couldn't take Issa Rae.
Oh, Issa Rae's in that new generation. Maybe current, because she's been around for a hot minute. She's in the current generation of the most recent class of Black queens. I think so. And I just actually watched all of Insecure a little after she hosted. So like I already knew who she was. I had just like after she hosted, I watched like the entire show and like fell in love with it even more. And so whenever I see Issa Rae pop up, I'm delighted. I am upset because this is like there's like what, like 11 Black women who've maybe hosted SNL. Like there's not a lot. And so another one got knocked off the board. But also she's funny. I think I don't even know what the name of the sketch is, and it wasn't even her doing the joke, but there was a sketch in her episode about titty meat that still makes me laugh to this day. I still think it's so funny. And there wasn't a lot of high hills in that season for me, but I think her hosting was one of them.
Yeah, and I believe there was also for sure, shout out. And I think there was also a sketch that were Bonjour High, where it was based in Montreal. So I think that was a Bo and Yang piece who lived here for a while. And that was also a very cool moment for me from that episode. All right, Bill Kenney, you have Rosario Dawson and George Clooney on your list. Where are you going to go with pick number 20, halfway through the draft?
Ooh, I'm going to go with another global icon. Can't believe that she's still on the board. She has not been on the show in 38 years. She is out there promoting The Color Purple. She was just on Colbert this week. I'm going with the one, the only Oprah Winfrey. She was on season 11, another notorious season, but she had some fun stuff. She was at the beginning of her career. She had just started nationally syndication, I believe, at that point. And she was game for anything. Obviously, she's much more well-known now, and it would be interesting to see her come back and play with some of this cast. So I'm going with Oprah.
All right, great pick here from Bill. I mean, I don't think that Oprah was going to last much longer in this draft. Somebody was going to take her for sure. She hosted April 12th, 1986 with musical guest Joe Jackson, season 11, episode 14, and just like a really weird time for the show. But so cool to get to see Oprah host the show then. Imagine her hosting now. I think that would be like a really big celebratory occasion to get her onto the show. So great pick here from Bill. Victoria, any thoughts on this one? You seem disappointed that you couldn't pick Oprah.
I love Oprah. So I started actually like making a list. I need to take this a little more seriously now that like people I love and adore are being taken. No, I love Oprah. I think she would be great. I think there's a lot of material that could be done. Like you get a car, you get a car. Something with WW and like making a fun infomercial out of that. And just like, were you silent or were you silenced? Using that iconic line and building it into a sketch. And doing some, I feel like there's something to be done there with PDD, but she's also just an icon. And shout out Harpo Studios in Chicago. If you know, you know. So that's it.
All right, great pick here, Bill.
Oprah, Harpo is Oprah backwards, just so people know.
I will never forget the day I discovered that. I was
People don't know that?
I was like 6, and I was like, "What do you mean?"
Oh,
like she's a genius.
I always thought of that as just a well-known black fact, that's just a well-known thing.
It is, but when you're a
you and I both learned
child.
when we were young. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Harpo.
Okay, over to TJ for pick number 21. He has Donald Glover and Andy Samberg on his team.
I'm making a pick that will feel defensive, but might be stupid, but I'm okay risking it, because there's somebody else that I want, but I'm gonna make a risk here, and I realize I'm building a team of men. But I think I might be overthinking it. But if Haynes got him, I wouldn't be okay with it. Actually, I think I would have more risk if Haskell was here and he would grab it. But I'm going to pick Seth MacFarlane, who has another one of my like top favorite episodes hosting. I know he also has Ted coming out, but Seth MacFarlane, not just, I think he's gone beyond just being the creator of Family Guy to go from someone who was just an animator to not just starring in live action things, but to get to host SNL. And then also like directing. He's a man that has his hand in many different pots. I am a huge, huge fan of the Orville, big fan of like early Family Guy and like, the Ted movie. Like he's done a lot and he's just very funny. And I think his episode, especially the puppet class sketch, or there's like a sketch where he plays like a drill sergeant who has a stuttering problem, and I just think like there's so much beautifully done with like incorporating his vocal talent into the sketch to have somebody who was originally like a big voice actor. Like imagine if like Tara Strong or like Yuri Lowenthal like hosted, that also would be like a big thing for them. So big respect to him. I also worried that Sammy would get him. But I could be overthinking. I don't know if anyone was thinking Seth MacFarlane top of mind, but I need to have him now, and hopefully I get this other person I want on the way back before Sammy or Rebecca get them.
Great pick here from TJ. So we got Seth MacFarlane, who hosted on September 15th, 2012, season 38, episode 1 with musical guest Frank Ocean, and that was a premiere episode of Saturday Night Live.
That's an episode.
Yeah, really, really fun episode, fun pairing that we got there in 2012. And yeah, I mean, I guess he's incredible with the work that he's done. I'm surprised we haven't gotten him back. Could we potentially get him back in the future? I think it's always a possibility. Sammy, would love to know your thoughts on Seth MacFarlane, going to TJ here, 21 overall.
Yeah, 2012 Sammy would have been really upset that I didn't get Seth MacFarlane on my team. But no shade at all to Seth MacFarlane. No, I just, at the time, that season premiere, as a fan of SNL and as a fan of Family Guy, I was just like, oh my God, this is like, life can never get better than this. And then it did in many different ways. But I mean, he's still like doing Family Guy, and I think the Orville I think ended, and he's got the Ted series. The episode he hosted was great. And I did draft the Bill Hader puppet class sketch in my all-time episode draft. So if we were able to see a reprise of that, I'd be very excited to see that. But it would be really interesting to see Seth MacFarlane now host. I'd like to see it, but not somebody who I was really thinking about. Sorry, TJ.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it's a really good pick here from DJ. All right, so Victoria, you're up next. You have Michael Jordan and Ryan Reynolds on your team, so very interesting group of hosts that you have. Jonathan Majors still on the board, just putting it out there. But if you decide,
Wait, I'm sorry. What you yo?
No, that's
John.
no.
I mean, you never know.
John,
John.
jail.
Women
Oh my.
first.
Well, that's where Majors is going.
Bury that.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. John,
Victoria.
Jesus.
All jokes aside, you have the
Okay.
pick of the board. So where would you like to go next?
So I finally this is the list. There's so much more happening here, but this is the list I really want. I know one of these, I think if I don't pick this person this round, Amanda will take them next round. And I'm just going to have to be okay with that. I'm making my peace with it, because there's someone I want a little bit more. And I really thought this person was going to be taken twice, but no one's taken them. And there's 3 that I really want on my team now. You know what I mean? Okay. Fine. I know. Okay. I have to do it because when this person hosted and knowing their path to where they are now, and I'm not just bull spitting. Can I swear?
You can go.
I've said fuck
Okay.
multiple times already.
Woo! Okay. Pop off then. I'm not just bullshitting. I truly do admire this person. And it was very I want to follow their path. And they've done great things in Chicago at Second City. So I am going to choose Quinta Brunson. I think she did such a great job on the show. She was really and she has I think that's why it's so important to have that comedic training, because when she was on that show, I was she's a cast member. That's it. That's gonna make that her part-time job. Let her show up one sketch a week. She was so funny. She was also versatile in the character she played. I don't know if she's the shortest host, but pop off queen. You can do whatever you want. But no, she's
Ask Mike about that.
I truly do love her and respect her as an artist so much, and she's the top of this list. And I think if I don't choose her, someone else would have taken her. But there's someone else on this list who I also have a connection to. I feel that I think maybe Amanda might take in the next round, and I made my peace with it.
You have a pick before
Yeah,
Amanda.
you're gonna get back.
Exactly.
You know.
You're gonna-
You know how the draft snake.
I know, but there's someone else I want a little bit more than that. I mean, I'm in
Pick
between
it,
these
girl.
All right.
Pick it.
All right.
Okay.
Let's
Okay,
let's
okay.
talk
Don't
about
do it.
Quinta
Don't
Brunson.
don't light yourself on fire to keep me warm. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm cool. I'm good. There's 4
Also,
people on this
yeah,
list.
what
Right?
she
I'm thick though. There's enough fire
So-
to go around.
Just
So just want to say something. Technically,
Flipping that.
wouldn't Macaulay Culkin,
I'm so
Macaulay Culkin or
warm.
Peter Dinklage be one of the 2 for shortest? I think Macaulay
Drew
Culkin
Barrymore?
when he hosted.
Oh my god!
No,
I
Macaulay
didn't
Culkin was
think
7
about
years
that.
old. He was
But
a literal
wasn't Drew
child.
Barrymore a kid when she did?
Oh,
That's true.
you're
She was
right.
8 years old.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
That's what. That's
yeah.
yeah. That's what I would. I mean, I would assume
No,
that's
yeah.
probably on par. in terms of height,
Oh,
would be those
Or
two.
Yeah.
Peter Dinklage.
That's a good
Well,
ass
speaking-
question. Sorry, good question.
Well, speaking of shortness, musical guest for the Quinta Brunson's episode, Lil Yachty, where they were paired on April 1st, 2023.
Hey, watch it. Watch it.
I didn't realize
Y'all
I
leave
wasn't
Lil Boat.
muted.
Y'all
I'm
leave
not
Lil Boat
clued.
alone.
Season 48, episode 16, so also nominated for an Emmy. So great choice here. Quinta Brunson obviously has that sketch experience from Black Lady Sketch Show. Just clearly fantastic. We got to interview her last summer at Just for Laughs, so really cool. If you want to go back and check out that interview with Quinta Brunson, she was just so appreciative of her time at Saturday Night Live, and I'm sure we'll be back at some point. And we're going to get some more Abbott Elementary in the new year, so very exciting for that. Okay, let's keep going though. Let's go over to me, where I have Taylor Swift and Adam Sandler on my board, and I pick number 23. I think this is the time that I'm going to pick what many people have called one of the greatest double duty hosts in the history of Saturday Night Live, and someone for years that people were clamoring to come back because they did such a fantastic job the first time they hosted. So I'm going to take here Bruno Mars as my pick over here. October 20th, 2012, Bruno Mars, season 38, episode 5, was the host and musical guest and just absolutely crushed it. Everyone was like, oh man, he's gonna be a 5-timer. Like, he was that good on the show. A lot of people will remember Sad Mouse from that episode. Just a great episode of the show. So for me, this is the right time. I was scared that maybe Haynes might take Bruno Mars. I don't know. But either way, I had to take him here. So 23 overall, Bruno Mars. Amanda, you seem to be upset by this. So tell me what you think of Bruno Mars going here to me.
I mean, in terms of double duty host, another one of the best of all time. Like one of my favorite hosts ever. Like, I remember where I was when I watched that episode, even though it was a decade ago. That's a great pick. A great selection. Bruno is I mean, like one of those men who, again, it's just like, he's just good at what he does, and he is so effortlessly charming. So it's kind of like adding that charm that you see on stage that we saw on the Super Bowl at the Beyonce Bruno Mars that happened to actually be the Coldplay halftime show. Everyone forgets that. It's kind of like, it's this, he's just hot. And I even thought, like, when his music with Anderson .Paak came out, I thought we were going to get that whole thing, a whole season with him. He was great. So I think this is a wonderful, wonderful choice, and actually wonderfully unexpected. And also, you're just loving these musicians tonight, Jonathan. What's happening? Like, you're just all about
talented people.
And also, I love when John picks a non-white person for once.
Thank you. Hey, I do that plenty. Watch all the shows.
I am the SNN network DEI board. Okay,
Amanda, we can't say anything when you, me, and Victoria are on this panel.
We are. Look at this. Look at this L right here that we're making on the screen. We're over.
I didn't make the draft order. You guys put yourself in this
order. We have multiple types of whites here. We got spicy whites, Rebecca and Sammy. You know,
we have Bill, representation of the Italians.
No one is commending John for picking Adam Sandler.
We all know Italians, hallmark of diversity.
All right, well, I picked Bruno Mars more than just his background. I love what he did on the show, and would be great to get Silk Sonic.
Why are you trying to downplay your support of minorities?
Definitely not. It's all a full package here to get Bruno Mars at the show, and Silk Sonic would be great to have them do music that episode. Yes. So just would be an unreal show. Clearly, John is just crushing this draft. So Haynes, try and compete.
Anderson .Paak would be better.
I would love a double duty of them. Actually,
Anderson .Paak is done. He was musical guest before.
He's funny. He's funnier than Bruno.
First of all, I'm just gonna say, TJ, as someone who does DEI trainings for your work or something, it sounded like you said, I don't think you're supposed to point to a person referring to their ethnicity or how they identify and say question mark.
Hey man, I'm not working right now, bro. I'm not working. I'm not on the clock. I said what I said.
I think I heard that. I think I heard that in a training once. So
you're right. That is really funny.
My Iraqi ancestors are choking on their falafel right now. They are.
I remember Victoria talked about her like immigrant parents before, but I just couldn't remember what the background was, and so I was like, I'm
what kind of brown she was. You were wondering.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, exactly. And again, I stand by what I said 100%.
You know what though? I appreciate that because people. I had a roommate who I won't name because they watch the show sometimes.
Oh my God, please name them. Please.
No,
name them.
I'm going to say
them.
Name
not
them.
Literally. Not like Sniper Wolf.
You would get that, Amanda.
They said to me, I knew you weren't white, but I couldn't tell what you were. I was like, oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, see, that's not the cute way to do it. You gotta be
you gotta say question mark.
You just gotta flat out, what are you? Where do your parents come from?
And you know what, though? I was just like, thank you, I'm not white.
Yes, well.
Thank you for thinking I'm
Thank
white.
you. Like, what do you want me to say?
Shout out to Spicy Whites.
Shout out to Spicy.
All right, I think Haynes has a pick coming up. So 24 overall. Haynes.
All right.
Oh my God, it is so late. I'm not going to get to play my PS5 today.
I know. I took Bill's chat advice and went and got a beer when I used the bathroom. Okay, so It really surprises. I feel like, I as Bill was saying, like, honestly, any of us could just stack, like, my whole draft could be former cast members, and it would be so easy. I'm trying to break away from that. So I'm going to go ahead and get myself someone who has been a pretty big, like, worldwide star, like, at one point, like, kind of like one of the biggest stars out there. I was really surprised to be reminded that she's only hosted once. I don't know what she's got going on right now, but I think if she had a big production coming out, the world would love to have back Jennifer Lawrence. So I'm going to put her on the list.
Oh, for sure.
Great pick.
As a big name. Yep. So go ahead and create some discourse on that.
All right, well, let's do it. January 19th, 2013, Jennifer Lawrence hosted musical guest The Lumineers, season 38, episode 11. And yeah, I am surprised we haven't seen Jennifer Lawrence return to the show. J-Law has obviously been, in the news for 10 years now and or more and been really popular. So maybe she doesn't want to do it, but either way, we would love to see her back at the show. So very curious what you all think of this pick over here. Rebecca, I'll go to you. What do you think of Jennifer Lawrence going to Haynes?
This is a great pick, Haynes. I love this. I'm shocked we haven't seen her on the show since then. I think she is one of the funniest people in our generation and isn't inherently a comedian. So I like any moment where we could see her being intentionally funny. Like every once in a while I go on YouTube and just like watch clips of her in interviews or on red carpets, and she's effortlessly funny. So I don't know. Great pick. I'm kind of jealous she got her and upset at myself for not thinking I was top of mind.
All right, Haynes, you got back-to-back picks here, so you're going to pick the 25th pick in this draft. You have Sudeikis, Will Forte, and Jennifer Lawrence. Who's going next?
All right. This is, I honestly think this is one of the, I do see like being funny sometimes as a mark of intelligence. I think like it's very common, and obviously, there's plenty of very smart people that are not particularly funny, but I do think that this person is one of the sharpest people I've just ever seen present themselves in public when they're doing the work that they've done, the regular content they've created, or when they're on like a late night show being interviewed. They're just, I think this person has one of the fastest working minds that I've ever seen, and he's just absolutely kills me with everything that comes out of his mouth, and it never stops. Super high speed. He got his start on 2 previous sketch shows. One that's kind of, the counterpart to SNL, but Mad TV not quite as cool to us. And then, of course, he created his own sketch show, Key and Peele. So yes, Keegan-Michael Key, I think, would be an amazing host to come back.
Yes, 100%. Keegan-Michael Key would be fantastic to return to the show. Hosted on May 15th, 2021 with musical guest Olivia Rodrigo. Just would be so great. When he hosted the show, I just think he was just tailor-made for this. He was almost an SNL cast member at some point. I believe they brought him in to like potentially do some political impressions at one point, and then ultimately ends up staying at Mad TV. So they were talking with Jordan Peele, they were talking with Keegan-Michael Key, and that we end up getting Key as a host here. And to me, this was just really, really cool to have him at the show, and I think it's a great pick. And people have been asking when we might get him return to the show here. Bill, what do you think of Haynes' pick here, Keegan-Michael Key, going 25th overall?
Fantastic pick. It was one of the best episodes of that season. He was made for a show like this. Everything he does, he's just such a charming personality. He's so funny. He made that terrible Netflix show good. I can't think of it. It was all the friends cheating on each other.
Friends in
There we go.
College.
Thank you.
It's a good one.
Oh,
It's hard to get into.
It has that gross
really
man,
good.
Fred Savage, in it.
Yeah, it's
One-time
dark
SNL
for all the
host,
wrong
Fred
reasons.
Savage.
But this is a great pick. I think he would be great to see come back. I'd love to see that Mad TV connection. Hopefully it happens soon.
All right, there you go. Keegan-Michael Key, 25th overall. So we are into the 4th round of the draft.
John, Can I shout out Planet Ant in Hamtramck, Michigan that Keegan Michael Key co-founded, and
Sure.
just shout out to them. I performed there.
Very that.
And not to brag, but my poster of my show is close to his poster of his show. So on their one side.
Very, very cool.
That's
okay.
all.
That's great. I mean, let's keep going though. So we got
Victoria. Not even an hour ago, I asked my friend, "Can you spell Hamtramck?" No one in this chat, no one here can, except for us and Sammy.
Period.
Also, I probably can't.
All right. 26 overall. So my team so far is Taylor Swift, Adam Sandler, and Bruno Mars. I think I'm going to go here with somebody who recently retired from their profession. They are considered the GOAT in their sport, and they were one of the better athlete hosts in the history of the show. Hosted season 30, episode 17, April 16, 2005. That would be Tom Brady coming back to host the show. He's going to be apparently, potentially, the lead color commentator on Fox next year. So he is in the news. I mean, he's now single and, into the next phase of his life. I think it would be really fun if he came back and hosted the show. He's still in the zeitgeist, even though he's no longer in the NFL. So for me, I think this could be a really fun episode if we got Tom Brady host for the first time since season 30 when he hosted with musical guest Beck. So could be fun to have Tom Brady back to host the show. Sammy, what do you think of the Tom Brady pick here, 26?
Very solid pick. I'm honestly surprised that he was still on the board because, he was a surprisingly great host. I feel like that was around the time I first started watching the show, and I feel like they rebrand that episode a lot on Comedy Central and places like that. So definitely kind of an iconic episode. And now that he's not playing, in the NFL anymore, makes sense to bring him back. So I think it would be cool to see.
Okay, Victoria, you got Michael Jordan, Ryan Reynolds, and Quinta Brunson on your team. Where are you going to go with pick number 27?
So the person I was worried about was Keegan. And I thought Amanda was going to take him for that Detroit love. And fair enough, because Detroit forever. Okay, that being said, I think I'm going to go with Icon, who helped save a lot of lives during the pandemic and is killing it at 77, the one and only Dolly Parton. I think no matter what, did you see how she was performing a few weeks ago? What a freaking icon. So if she can do that, she can do SNL. And I'll take a Moderna sketch. In fact, I'll take how many Moderna shots I have in my arm right now. So the government is watching me though, so be careful. Just kidding. I will not spread misinformation. But no, she's an icon. She's awesome, and I think if she were to come back, she'd be a great player with the cast.
Yeah, very fun pick here. I had Dolly Parton on my board as well. I was thinking about her. Great episode we got from season 14, episode 17, one of the greatest seasons ever, where she was a double duty host and very memorable episode of the show. I think the sketch that a lot of people will remember from that episode would be the Planet of Enormous Hooters sketch, which a lot of people can go back and check out. Bill, what do you think about the Dolly Parton pick here?
Yeah, like Victoria, everything Victoria said. She just performed at the Dallas Cowboys game in a unbelievable outfit for somebody who's in her late 70s. She's an icon. Why she only hosted once, I don't know, but this was such a great era of SNL, as everyone knows, and they got those country icons like Willie Nelson and Dolly Parton, and wish they would do more of that. Not that I'm a country music fan, but they were just iconic.
Absolutely. All right, TJ, you have Donald Glover, Andy Samberg, and Seth MacFarlane. Which guy are you going to take next?
I'm not going to take a male next. I'm actually going to pick a woman because I'm very shocked that she's still on the board. I'm going to actually pick a woman who's very special to me from being somebody I honestly had the biggest crush on in Scott Pilgrim and in Parks and Recreation. To being the person who was hosting when I actually got to step in the Studio 8H for the first time and see Saturday Night Live in person. I'm going to pick the well-respected, well-loved witch herself, Aubrey Plaza. For a multitude of reasons, not only being a great actress, the electricity in the room, on top of my own natural glee and how happy I was getting a chance to see her like in person, watch that show like live there, like jumping up and down my seat. And on top of it, her knocking it out of the park. The amount of love that she has, like the amount of like camaraderie that she brings in. I just, I don't even know that we need to see her like right now immediately, but I know if she came in again, she would have a great episode because she cares about what she does. And she works hard. She is a great performer. And I think she's not only somebody who's fun, but I really respect how she like approaches these things. And I'd be shocked not to see her like, I'm surprised we haven't seen her nominated for an Oscar yet, because I really liked her in Emily the Criminal. Maybe Oscar's a little too stretched, but it's been wonderful to watch her career since Scott Pilgrim and God, that Adam Sandler movie, Funny People. Like I feel like I've seen a lot of what she's done, and I have the utmost respect for her. And so yeah, she's gonna host my 4th episode because she's a fucking star.
She was also fantastic in The White Lotus, like really great.
Oh my God,
well.
right?
Yeah, January 21st, 2023 was when we saw Aubrey Plaza last year host the first show of 2023, season 48, episode 10, with a musical guest, Sam Smith. And yeah, it was just a great episode, capped off with the return of Amy Poehler and doing some Parks and Rec stuff on Update. It was just such a cool episode to have Aubrey Plaza host that one. Haynes, would love to know what you think of Aubrey Plaza going to TJ here, 28th overall.
I mean, she's awesome. I think anyone would love to have Aubrey Plaza back. Anyone who likes SNL, I think, and if you like comedy in general, you would love to have Aubrey Plaza back. I've never seen her not be hilarious in everything that she's in. And yeah, I think it's a great pick for sure.
Okay, over to Bill Kenney, who has Rosario Dawson, George Clooney, and Oprah Winfrey. Where are you going to go with pick number 29?
It's shocking that it's taken me till the 4th round to pick a former cast member. Still some really good ones on the board. But I got to go with a not ready for primetime player. Only hosted once, inexplicably. Has cameoed like 9 times. Was a special guest in a couple of John Goodman episodes. The one, the only, Dan Aykroyd. His episode in season 28 was fantastic. To see him work with that cast. He was in the Buddy Mills sketch. He was in Astronaut Jones with Tracy Morgan, probably the funniest Astronaut Jones sketch there was. And Hardball. He did Andrew Card in Hardball. So really, really good episode. Still associated with the show, and would love to see him come back maybe next year for the 50th.
Would be very exciting. Dan Aykroyd hosted May 17th, 2003. I believe that was the finale of season 28 with musical guest Beyonce. What a pairing for that episode. We also, almost had Dan Aykroyd host the show twice, where he was sort of scheduled to host in season 6, I believe, before they had the writer's strike. Between 6 and 7. So that would have been really, really cool to have him there, but they do ultimately get him back way too late in season 28, and they need to have him back next year at some point, whether it's as a host or at least part of some sketches, because we know we're going to see him at the 50th, but yeah, he's just one of the all-time legends in the history show, one of my favorite cast members ever. Sammy, would love to know what you think of the Dan Aykroyd pick here from Bill.
Yeah, I mean, you said it best. He's, an all-time legend at the show. And, when I first started getting into SNL and finding out that he not only hosted once, but it was so many years after, he was a part of that cast, was kind of mind-blowing to me. And, the fact that since then now it's been, 20 years, it's about time that we do get to see him back. I feel like if they're ever going to do it again, SNL 50 makes the most sense. So I'm hoping that they've already asked him and that they're just kind of holding out for that. So I think this is a solid pick here, in the 4th round.
Okay, up next, we got pick number 30 from Rebecca, who has Peyton Manning, Lady Gaga, and Issa Rae on her team. Who are you going to pick next, Rebecca?
So I think this person is kind of a little more out of pocket, but I loved his episode hosting. And he's an amazing comedian, now also with Chloe Trost. Even just as one person, I'm seeing a lot of musical sketches. So I think he'd be really great at that. And I know his Netflix show just got picked up on Showtime for another season and even more. So I think that there could be some potential of him actually coming to host. I think it could be an all-around just fun episode. And I think Neil Patrick Harris would be a great host again. I don't know, he just brings joy to the screen. And I feel like no one would complain by seeing him on there.
Yeah, he had a really fun episode of the show hosted on January 10th, 2009, season 34, episode 12, with musical guest Taylor Swift. So that was a fun episode where we got Taylor Swift in a sketch. I believe she was in that Broadway sketch that we had. And Neil Patrick Harris just like fresh in the middle of his How I Met Your Mother run. And it would be very cool to have him back. I know he is a huge fan of Saturday Night Live, so it would just be awesome to see him return to the show. Victoria, what do you think of the Neil Patrick Harris pick here to Rebecca?
I agree. He's such a cutie pie too, him and his husband. So just great energy. I don't think I ever did see his episode when he hosted, but that doesn't really matter. I love a lot of his other content that he's put out there. So I think he's just good energy. So great choice, Rebecca.
I once met Neil Patrick Harris at a sushi
Same.
restaurant in Montreal, and he could not have been nicer. Like I was like, hey, like I don't usually do this, but like I have to go say hello to you. Just like I love How I Met Your Mother, and he was like, oh, that's awesome. And he like just like started asking questions about myself. Like whenever like he was just like willing to engage. Like just a really good guy. So for me, that would be very, very cool to have him return to the show. All right, Sammy, you got Conan, RDJ, and Pedro Pascal on your team. Pick number 31 is yours. Who are you going to pick?
Okay, I think I feel pretty good about this next pick. She is actually, I feel like it's kind of iconic looking back at her time hosting at the show, because it was around the time where there was some controversy that the show, frankly, wasn't diverse enough. Kenan Thompson, famously said that he, was done, dressing up as female characters in the show, and that SNL needed to hire, more Black women. And, 10 years later, they have, which is great. But the Kerry Washington episode is so good. She was a fantastic host. I think it was in the cold open where they have her come in and they kind of poke fun at the fact that SNL, isn't diverse enough at this time. And she's playing like so many different Black female characters over and over again. And that's a super iconic moment. And overall, was just a great host. Every time she's in a movie or a show, she is just an absolute star. And it's kind of crazy that, after the fact that she kind of did that, I'm not saying it's a favor to SNL, but in a way, like, that was good that they had her come in there, that she hasn't been back. So would love to see Kerry Washington back. And that's why I've picked her here in the 4th round.
All right, Kerry Washington goes here at number 31 overall to Sammy. November 2nd, 2013 is the episode date that Sammy spoke of, season 39, episode 5, with musical guest Eminem. And yeah, that was a really game-changing episode in the history of the show, one we did not know at the time. And then it was like, wow, all right. So, SNL has been more diverse since that moment. And Kerry Washington was a huge part of that. Amanda, what do you think of the Kerry Washington pick here at 31?
This is my favorite pick of the night. Like, I'm far and away. I didn't, the sad thing is I'm mad because it didn't even occur to me. But this is not, it's my favorite pick of the night. It's also the most important pick of the night, I believe. It's just in terms of the legacy of SNL and the future of SNL and the SNL. John's going to do the numbers, but I feel like we're seeing a lot of 2013 representation across the board here in our picks tonight. And I think that, especially that Kerry Washington episode, I remember that opening sketch where like Kerry's in it and then they like turn and they pause and they're like, aren't you supposed to go change? Like you're supposed to go be Michelle Obama now. Like, and it's like a running joke of like, they're like, you're supposed to be Oprah. And that gave us Shasir Zameda. And that gave us, look at where we are now in terms of just Black women on this television show. And I think this is, I'm not astonished it took this long to get this far as SNL, as par, with the history, it's a game. But also I love this pick. This is Sammy's number 1 in my book right now, y'all. Sorry, Bill. You are my favorite.
Thank you.
Victoria's actually my favorite. I'm sorry, but Sammy's
Well,
Sammy's number one.
I'm your favorite after the trouble I caused.
Your favorite
the pain I rehashed.
Parentheses X chromosome. Sammy is my favorite. Parentheses Y chromosome.
Noted.
I feel target on that X chromosome because there are only 2 options for you.
Rebecca, you and I are kikiing. We're kikiing off base. You and I were.
I'm just saying.
We're talking off camera.
Okay, all right. Let's keep going though, because we are almost done the 4th round of the draft, and then we're gonna have our final round. So Amanda, you do have back-to-back picks here, which means these are your final 2 picks in this draft. So you can pick any 2 people across the board. Who's gonna go first? 30 seconds.
All right. Number 1. Okay, I am going with. I thought about this for a long time, and I was originally going to go with Channing Tatum just because I think he is one of the last movie stars existing, but I actually decided against this because I went for what I actually believe, and I'm going back to 2014, I believe, because I realized some of my favorite episodes of SNL happen to also have Coldplay as the musical guest, including last year's Pedro Pascal episode, and this my pick, which is my boy, Spider-Man himself, Andrew Garfield. A great episode.
Oh, not Tobey Maguire.
No.
I thought
Leonardo
the same thing.
DiCaprio's best friend. That's what he's known as my house. He's known as Leonardo DiCaprio's best friend who was mean to Jessica Chastain in Molly's Game. I love Andrew Garfield. I think he is my favorite straight gay man. He's, one of those, like, he's just both. I think he's not only is he gorgeous, he's very good at his job. He loves his job. And that episode was, especially in that time of his career, we only knew him as, the kid from The Social Network that was robbed of an Oscar nomination. So, like, here he got to show his acting chops, what he could do. And I think it was his monologue when he was like, "The cat's out of the bag. I'm British." And I think about that line like at least once a month. I miss Mr. Garfield. You are I love lasagna and I love you, Andrew. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a great episode of the show where Andrew Garfield hosted on May 3rd, 2014 with musical guest Coldplay, season 39, episode 19. We had a couple of really memorable moments, including that whole Spider-Man kiss thing with Emma Stone. We also had a 24 cameo where we got Kiefer Sutherland and Marilyn Rice-Cub to come in. So yeah, just really, really cool. The Bajancy, I believe that was that sketch. It was awesome to have Andrew Garfield at the show. Surprised we haven't gotten him back. Seriously, like, I know he cameoed, I believe, once prior to that, but not since have we seen.
Yeah, because he was on Emma Stone's episode because that's when they were dating, right? So he was on the cameo with her. So I think it's time. I think he's due.
I don't know. Emma Stone's really well connected with that SNL people, and that's his ex. Do we really think we would see him back?
Yeah, that's true. That's an interesting thought experiment, but yeah, I don't know. Well, in Amanda's world, Andrew Garfield does host for the second time, so very interesting pick here. TJ, do you like that pick?
I think honestly no, because I think that episode is kind of like I think that episode is sort of like when Will Forte hosted or when Elon hosted it. That episode was one where they gave the host a crutch. And the crutch was Emma Stone. And like in that, I think she's in 2 or 3 pieces of that episode, or like when they brought in Miley to supplement Elon hosting, which he desperately needed. And like, I like Andrew Garfield. I like that Spider-Man sketch. But if I'm being honest, I like that Spider-Man sketch and I like that monologue. But guess who's in both of them? Emma Stone. Like, other than that, that episode never really sticks out for me without her being in sketches. And I think that's no shade to Amanda, by the way. That's more just about like Andrew. Like, I don't think of him as that miraculous of a host or Spider-Man.
Well,
he's an okay Spider-Man.
You heard it here first.
TJ hates Peter Parker.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield is Elon Musk.
Whoa! I literally
Andrew
just finished
Garfield.
Spider-Man 2. I just finished Spider-Man 2. Just playing all 3 Spider-Man games in the past 2 months. I love me some Spider-Man.
I recently watched all of them for the first time. So
that's okay. But, Sammy,
all
I
right.
should jump here. Said.
Okay. My second pick, back to back.
Sorry, but let me just say, okay, final rounds of the draft here. So every pick now will complete everybody's teams. We'll let you know who they are. Amanda, who is your 33rd pick overall pick?
Okay. I was trying not to, like, I have a good solid representation in terms of diversity and colors and shapes and sizes, and I'm going with who I believe is just somebody everyone is excited to watch do things, and is also another one of my favorite double duty hosts ever. I'm going with Adele. Why? Why hasn't Adele been mentioned on this stage? She was so good on this show. She's so charming and fun, and we get to see her sing sad songs. And a woman who sings like that is funny, because you can't be that sad and not be secretly hilarious like me. So I'm just I think the only person other than Adele who, like, Peppa Pig can't host this show, so she's not coming for Adele's gig. It's the only way. But that's a whole inside media joke about Peppa Pig and Adele. Thank you.
Yeah, what the hell are you talking about?
Peppa Pig and Adele are enemies. It's a whole thing on the internet. Leave me alone.
Okay.
But but all I have to say is I really, really love Adele. I love watching her do things, and I really loved this episode. And I thought, if I had to pick, I'm gonna go. If my white lady representation has to be non-American, that is the way it's gonna be. Yes.
Sounds good to me. All right. Adele hosted the show on October 24th, 2020, the episode after Issa Rae, which we talked about previously. So it's still like COVID affected in terms of those episodes. So, really fascinating to get to see Adele host the show. She had previously been a musical guest a few times as well. This time Her was the musical guest, ladies and gentlemen. Her was the musical guest that night. So very, very cool to have Adele host the show. Victoria, what do you think of the Adele pick to Amanda here, 33?
I can't love you in the dark. I think it's great. Sorry to everybody listening. No, I think it's great. Adele is actually very funny just in real life. And she did such a great job on the show when she was there. I think it would be nice to have her back. I think she's done with her residency in Vegas, or at least for this year. But nonetheless, bring her back. And yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good to me. Adele at 33. So, Sammy, you have Conan, RDJ, Pedro Pascal, and Kerry Washington. Who is your final pick at 34?
Okay. So for my final pick, this is tough. I think I feel pretty good about my list to where I can go a little weird with my next pick. This is somebody who I'm pretty confident in an interview over the past year or so was actually said that he was asked to host recently and was either considering it or turned them down. But in my fantasy world, this person is gonna come back and host for a second time because he is the GOAT, and that is Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage, you can argue now is bigger than he's ever been, even bigger than National Treasure days or when he, won an Oscar. He's just incredibly famous. He's kind of a meme, but I feel like he embraces that. He recently also said in an interview that he might be done with movies and is thinking about pivoting to TV. And SNL is a TV show. So for all those reasons, I'm going with Nicolas Cage here for my final pick. Would love to see what him and this cast cook together.
Yes, could we get in the cage with Nicolas Cage returning to the show? He previously hosted on September 26, 1992 with musical guest Bobby Brown, season 18, episode number 1. So, so that could be very fun to get Nick Cage back to host the show. Bill, what do you think about the Nick Cage pick here?
The only reason Sammy picked him is so Andy Samberg will come back. That's really it. So
I buried the lead.
Yeah, this is fun. This is one of those actors who's been around for so long, and this again, it's been so long since he's been on. It would be a lot of fun to see him come back. So a great pick.
Can I also just say, as somebody who just watched Vampire's Kiss for the first time a few months ago, he's definitely and is just now getting into the cage and seeing all the craziness. This is new perspective for me, who's only known him from like the Get in the Cage sketches. So what a choice.
Okay, Rebecca picked Peyton Manning, Lady Gaga, Issa Rae, and Neil Patrick Harris. Your final pick at pick 35 is who, Rebecca?
Struggling. This is so difficult. I'm really torn between a few people, but somebody that I just think it's now her time to come back on the show. We've seen her in comedy. I'm shocked she wasn't on last week's episode at all. I think Margot Robbie is just the it girl of the time. We've seen her do comedy now a lot of times to know that like she should be on SNL. I'm shocked we didn't see her in the first half of the season or even a cameo in the last episode, which I think is a little crazy that she wasn't there because this is like, she has made this year the Barbie year. And I don't know. I think she's epic and I would be so happy to see her on the show.
Yes.
Yeah, TJ, tell us why you're yesing.
I'm a huge Margot Robbie fan. I recently figured out this past year that she's my favorite actress. I decided to actually this year I watched a bunch of her movies. I, Tonya, Bombshell. I've seen Focus, not that great. I love her as Harley Quinn. I think she's great. And of course I've seen Barbie multiple times. I was just singing I'm Just Ken a bunch of times over the weekend. I think she's fantastic. She's even making me consider seeing Babylon. That's how much I love Margot Robbie. She's incredible.
Great movie.
Oh, good. Okay, good to know. But I think honestly, I think she's iconic. I really, really do. I hold her in such a high regard of just being an incredible actress. I just rewatched Wolf of Wall Street this past weekend. And I know it's a debaucherous movie, but she's also excellent in the little scenes that she gets in that. Just incredible actress. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, although she doesn't, they need to put some respect on her name. She didn't get to talk a lot in that movie. But I'm shocked Margot Robbie has not been back, or that she wasn't back for that Kate episode because she's
so much to promote.
She's she's a supernova to me. She's a huge star.
Yeah, I do know they were trying to get her back for the finale of last season. I think she was asked to host the finale that was supposed to be hosted by Jennifer Coolidge.
Another show we didn't get. Thanks a lot for reminding me of that, John. Sorry,
yeah, I think she's in the
John brought on the strike. It's John's fault we didn't get Jennifer Coolidge.
Yes.
Or Kieran Culkin when the Succession was ending. I mean,
John,
it'll happen one day. Sorry, October 1st, 2016 is when Margot Robbie hosted for the first time season 42, episode 1 with musical guest The Weeknd. And yeah, fantastic episode.
Oh my God. I didn't realize it was The Weeknd. I forgot.
Yeah, great pick. Great pick by Rebecca. Okay, Bill, you have Rosario Dawson, George Clooney, Oprah Winfrey, and Dan Aykroyd. Who is your final pick at 36?
This is really tough, even when you have pages and pages of notes, Victoria.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Scroll.
I want to pick OJ because I want to get the clicks like John is whoring for with Taylor Swift. We haven't had that kind of controversy in a long time. Robert Blake is dead, so this is really our only opportunity to get a double murderer on the show.
You cannot be serious.
I'm not gonna do it.
Do it.
I'm not gonna do it.
Do it.
I'm gonna go with
the juice is
Pick Mr. Juice.
It's the juice.
He said he didn't do it, so he didn't
That's
do
how
it.
you know you love black people.
He's innocent.
Bill, this is what you were meant to do.
He believes he did it. What?
All right, fine. You guys talked me into it. I'm going with the one, the only. No. I'm not going to do it.
Not going to do it.
Maybe he'll promote Dancing with the Stars when he's inevitably on it.
Oh
my God. Him and George Santos get paired together.
Who's your pick?
So my pick is going to be one of my favorite all-time cast members. Cameoed just a couple seasons ago. Hosted in season 23. But he had such a great episode. Paired up with Will Ferrell and Norm. He did a Letterman with Will Ferrell. Worked with Sherry. Of course, I'm talking about the one, the only, John Lovitz. Jealous?
Yeah.
Very, very jealous by this pick. I mean, obviously, Lovitz is, we said you can't pick dead, hosts, Bill, but you still did anyways, as you chose. Yeah, you chose Jon Lovitz, who hosted the show
Wow.
on November 8th,
It's one of my favorite bits.
1997. What did I do? Season 23.
When Jon Lovitz. Sorry.
Yes, season 23, episode 5, with musical guest Jane's Addiction. So yeah, I am surprised we haven't gotten Jon Lovitz to host a second time, but yeah, it was fun to see him a few years ago, and then he was a big part of I think that Dana Carvey episode in 2011. So yeah, just cool always to get Jon Lovitz back at the show. Haynes, what do you think of the Lovitz pick here? We cannot hear you for some reason. Haynes, is your mic unplugged?
I love it.
Boo!
I know it's such a dad joke. I do love the pick. I love Jon Lovitz. I recently saw him do stand up here in Raleigh, and just a couple weeks ago on the Feast of St. Andrew, which is a holiday that no one except for me celebrates.
Yeah,
I love I'm pretty sure Haskell and Andrew Dick also celebrate that holiday.
Okay, yeah.
I was gonna say, and Jon Lovitz, didn't he punch Andrew Dick or other Andrew Dick, the other Andy Dick in the face?
You mean Andy Dick?
Yeah, punch him in the face.
Yeah.
This is why it's perfect.
They're breaking news here.
I was about to say, like, what?
Yes. I mean, listen. Okay, so I love Jon Lovitz. Obviously, an incredible cast member. I will say, listen, John, I told you that I was going to see Jon Lovitz do stand up, and I like cracked some joke like, I don't know how he's changed in these 30 years or something. Like he could be like a huge Trump guy or something now. And you like laugh like, oh, I don't think so. I mean, we were joking. I don't know that I was completely wrong. He definitely had some tendencies. He had some tendencies. I'll just say that about the set. It was still 90% of it I found very funny, but there was a few moments that I was just like, why are you defending being at Trump fundraisers? And there were some parts of the bit that I didn't love. There's some parts of some stuff that I didn't love.
I already watched Dennis Miller. Don't take him away from me too.
All right. Listen. I still think it was an A set. It was a great set. I mean, I thought it was very funny. But yeah, so absolutely love Jon Lovitz. Great pick. I'm so glad that he got on the board here. Really, really interesting characters. Obviously, one of the most unique cast members in SNL history. I was just a big fan of him, in all the stuff that he landed in the 90s. And even, I don't know how I was able to appreciate The Critic at like 13, but I was. And so just fantastic pick, I think.
Okay, 4 picks left to go. TJ, you have Donald Glover, Andy Samberg, Seth MacFarlane, and Aubrey Plaza. Where are you going to go next?
This was incredibly difficult because I stupidly realized that instead of picking 8 hosts, we're picking 5. So this kind of whittles it down a lot more for me, which I'm okay with. I think is that is like very, very, very okay. So I'm just gonna say I'm not picking this person, but my honorable mention is Jessica Chastain. But my pick is between 2 people who both very dynamic. And I've actually been thinking about this and I've been having trouble deciding. But I think if we're gonna go energy, I was gonna go with Oscar Isaacs because that could be a good episode. But in terms of energy and a return, I feel like seeing Tiffany Haddish would be a lot more. It's been enough time. I feel like she had an electric episode that honestly boosted her career, and she doesn't need that boost anymore. She's solidly working. But I feel like having her back on the show, she's a good comedian. She's funny. I mean, she's an okay comedian, but she's a good actress, and she's very funny. So I feel like seeing her on the show could maybe we'll see some more things from her that we haven't already seen. So I'm going to go Tiffany because I feel like she adds a lot of dynamics to the lineup I already have. I feel like maybe Donald is the only person who could come like slightly close to like what she would do, but you wouldn't have anyone else on my list doing what Tiffany Haddish is able to do. So shout out to her.
Absolutely. Tiffany Haddish hosted November 11th, 2017 with also musical guest Taylor Swift, season 43, episode 5. And
that explains why that episode was so big. I know a lot of people saw that episode and I didn't realize that was the reason why.
Yeah, for sure. But it would be very fun to get her back in the building. Amanda, do you like this pick, Tiffany Haddish to TJ here?
I will say I love Miss Tiffany as a person. I read her book. I've just only noticed in the past few years she's gone from playing characters to just playing Tiffany Haddish over and over again. And that's not saying she's the same way in the After Party, which she's actually not. But I think SNL actually would be good for her in this stage of her career because it might actually allow her to ask for roles that are not what she actually plays typically, because now it's like she gets cast to play a Tiffany Haddish type, which is a great place to be in Hollywood, but also bad for your career stagnation. And she's had a hard couple of years. I will say that. Still say that. A lot of bad things have happened. A lot of bad things have happened with Miss Tiffany. But she's one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. I interviewed for a story. She's very lovely. And I root for her in this way where I'm like, you need to stop getting your own way. And I think SNL is a way for a lot of actors to kind of reset and like figure out where they can do what they want to do and see, like really, broaden their horizons. And in this case, I think it'd be good for her if that helps. Yeah.
Okay. Victoria, you have pick number 38 up next. Your team is MJ, Ryan Reynolds, Quinta Brunson, and Dolly Parton. Who is your final pick?
This is tough because this is the final list for me on here. There are a few names I just kept, like every time I was making my list, there are 2 names that I kept writing. So I'm going to have to just go with my instincts here. It's not popular. Like, it's this Justin Bieber cameo with Hailey Bieber and musical guest Selena Gomez. Just kidding. That's not my pick. But no, this guy is not going to be popular for this crowd, or I don't think for many people watching the podcast. But to me, he means a lot. I don't know much about his personal life, so if he's canceled, I don't know. I love his movies. My Cousin Vinny. I loved him in Casino. I loved him in Home Alone. It's going to be Joe Pesci.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, Joe Pesci certainly has an SNL connection right now with being in Bupkis, where he was with Pete for that show. So I think it certainly could be relevant to get him back at a certain point. Hosted on October 10th, 1992, with musical guest Spin Doctors, season 18, episode 3. And he was really strong, I thought, when he was on this show. They had some really fun sketches. So I think it's a very solid pick here and could be a pretty popular pick. Victoria, great job.
I didn't get to watch that episode. I don't think I was alive for it, but I do want to go back and watch it. He's just, to me, an actor that's a staple in my household growing up. So for my father's sake, I'm choosing him in honor of my father. So he's going to be my last pick.
Awesome. Rebecca, do you like the Joe Pesci pick here to Victoria?
I mean, he's nothing that's like, you were right. Like, he's nothing super, super special to me. I think he's like a good player in things that he's in. He's never like the standout in my mind. He's always like, which could always work as an SNL host. Controversy is that Joe Pesci said he would smack Sinead O'Connor for ripping the Pope's photo on SNL. So not only is this controversy SNL,
one of those things has aged well, and it's not Joe Pesci.
Yeah. So
good job, Victoria.
I'm your problematic queen. Listen, if you don't want controversy, don't ask me to be on the show. No, I didn't watch.
Nothing crazy to me.
I didn't realize that. Well, anyway.
While we're talking about problematic picks, I didn't realize about the Tiffany Haddish thing. I'm not apologizing because I didn't know, but I'm just acknowledging that I had no idea until my co-host just told me a few minutes ago. So
no worry.
Yeah.
Can we do canceled SNL hosts though, John?
I love it. That's so funny. Oh my god!
I'll think about it.
SNL host.
I want to.
We can be dead too. Even better.
Everyone has some type of controversy. It's so funny.
Before we move on,
shows. Yeah.
I was gonna say before we move on, I do want to quote another SNL host about Joe Pesci. Life is short with a temper, like Joe Pesci. That was Chance the Rapper.
All right.
Like
yes, very true.
He's fun.
Joe Pesci also cameoed in 1997, where he appeared on the Joe Pesci Show. Very fun cameo, though. We got to see him there. It was my favorite thing he probably did. He comes on with Robert De Niro and beats up Jim Brewer as Joe Pesci, and it's really funny. So yeah, that is a good appearance over there. It'll be fun to see him come back after all this time. So I was sort of worried you were going to go in a different direction, and I was really worried that Bill was going to take this next pick. So this is somebody who, for me, so I'll recap. I have Taylor Swift, Adam Sandler, Bruno Mars, Tom Brady. This is somebody who was born and raised in my hometown, and I need to get him to host SNL again while he's still around, because I think it would be a legendary show to have him return to the show. So he previously hosted all the way back in on December 20th, 1986. Get a Life. William Shatner returns to host the show back now all the way at the young age of 92, almost 93. Would be really, really fun to have William Shatner return to host the show. So I think they could have a great time with him, just in a way that they did with Betty White. So that is my pick over here to return to the show. Bill, what do you think of that pick?
John, if there was a sixth round, this would have been it. This would be our Betty White moment for this era. One of my favorite episodes, one of my favorite Christmas episodes. He does the Star Trek convention. He's in a Sweeney Sisters sketch. He introduces It's a Wonderful Life alternate ending, and the Star Trek restaurant, which is kind of a forgotten classic, where they have turned the Starship Enterprise into a fine dining restaurant. Yeah, I think this would be fantastic. He's still very active on Twitter and things like that. He calls out trolls all the time and will repost them. So I think he'd be a lot of fun to have back after all this time.
Absolutely. All right, Haynes, you got Sudeikis, Forte, Jennifer Lawrence, and Keegan-Michael Key, and have been patiently waiting to make the final pick in our draft. You have the pick of any one-time host who is still with us who has not been picked yet. Who are you going to go with?
I know, it's crazy. Listen, I think Rachel Brosnahan would be awesome to have back. She's so good. Don Cheadle, so great. And I really, I was really, 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 really thinking this whole time that I was going to pick someone who I think that, like, the current generation, we just don't discuss enough what a powerhouse Mike Myers was on the show. I mean, he's just so freaking talented. But I'm going to go with an absolute madman that I think is just completely brilliant. Would love to see back, and I would love to see back Mike Myers. But for the final pick, I'm asking for Willem Dafoe.
Oh, okay. Very,
really
very fun.
A wild pick, I think.
Oh,
yeah. No, I didn't expect that. No, just because
you can have him.
there was the whole Will Forte, Willem Dafoe thing where they did that joke in back-to-back weeks. So, but yeah, Willem Dafoe is a madman, and I honestly think that 10-1 sketch with the Office song where him throwing the chair out the window is one of the funniest things that I've seen the last couple years on SNL. So that was really great. Season 47, episode 12, January 29th, 2022. Musical guest Katy Perry. So Willem Dafoe goes to Haynes over here. Sammy, what do you think of the final pick of the draft, Willem Dafoe?
Yeah, I love Willem Dafoe. I would put him in the category of like Nicolas Cage as far as actors who are just so themselves, and anytime they pop up in anything, no one else could play that character. And when I saw the announcement that Willem Dafoe was going to host SNL, I flipped out, and I thought the episode overall delivered, and especially him as a host. So yeah, I mean, let's bring him back. I feel like at this point, probably not going to be a 5-timer, but we'd love to see him come back at least once or twice more.
Yes. Godspeed, Spider-Man.
Yes, for sure. All right, Amanda, Sammy, Rebecca, Bill, TJ, Victoria, myself, and Haynes have all picked their teams. We are going to finish up this podcast tonight by having each of them pitch you why their team that they drafted is the best. You can also give us an honorable mention or two that you wish you could have picked but didn't pick tonight, and then tell us where people can find you on socials or whatever else you want to plug. So Amanda, let's wrap up for you. You got Nicole Kidman, Keke Palmer, Megan Thee Stallion, Andrew Garfield, and Adele. Tell the listeners why your team rocks.
First of all, that's a dinner party I want to go to. Like, let's be real. That I have the best dinner party guests. Like, y'all want to go to dinner with me and my crew. We're going to go to Teresi. We're going to hang out. We're going to go to Tatiana. We're going to vibe. Like, it's going to be amazing. So, first of all, pick me because I'm not only am I amazing and I'm fun and I'm charming, but also I have the most fun group of people. And also, I have a beautiful list of honorable mentions. I just have to run through it. I swear to God, this is really fast. Lin-Manuel Miranda, Ted Danson, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Channing Tatum, Paris Hilton, Carrie Fisher, Micah McKean, Nia Vardalos, who should have been represented here. My Big Fat Greek Wedding, Second City herself should have been represented here. I'm sorry, Carrie Fisher. Sorry.
Oh,
you.
yeah, Carrie Fisher is.
She's passed away.
She
She's
was on
very
the list,
dead.
though.
But she's alive in my heart. And Saoirse Ronan, who I also believe is in that Felicity Jones, Kristen Stewart level, like dramatic actresses who kind of showed up and ate it up. But in general, I am great. Go follow me on Instagram. I don't know if we're doing this part yet, John, but I've started doing it. Yes, follow me on Instagram at Loch Ness Manda. You can also follow me on Twitter, aka whatever Elon Musk decided it's called today, at the same thing. You can find me on TikTok on the same handle. Read my work at refinery29.com. Happy holidays. I'm so happy to spend the last 2.5 hours with both of you. You were supposed to be gone an hour ago. I have plans. I'm very hungry, but I couldn't have been happier to be doing with more than a better and more attractive group of people. So hot people, happy holidays, #Fester moments. Love you all.
Awesome. Sammy, you picked Conan O'Brien, Robert Downey Jr., Pedro Pascal, Kerry Washington, and Nicolas Cage. Tell the listeners why your team is the best.
Yeah, I have a team full of absolute legends, starting off with Conan O'Brien. Easily one of the funniest people of all time. Somebody who we didn't think we would see on NBC again, but, would love to see him come back to host. Robert Downey Jr., a former cast member, but was, an even better host, is a huge movie star. And, I just think it makes total sense, especially as we get close to SNL 50, for him to come back and, really show his stuff. Then Pedro Pascal. I really think in a couple years from now, we're going to be talking about Pedro Pascal as a host at SNL the same way we're talking about Adam Driver right now. He's somebody who absolutely is made to host the show. Was a total surprise when he came in and just absolutely killed it. Then Kerry Washington, somebody who at the time when SNL wasn't so diverse, she came in and was able to acknowledge that. And now that the cast has very much so in that department, has improved, and there's a lot more diverse faces. Would love to see her be able to come back and host with this cast, especially. And then finally, Nicolas Cage. What more can I say about him? Just an absolute legend. Crazy that he's only hosted once, and I feel like today would be almost even more relevant for him to host. So would love to see all of that happen. And then I'm just going to name a couple honorable mentions. Really wanted to pick Samuel L. Jackson. Insane that he's only hosted once. Paul Giamatti would probably make a lot of sense right now because he's promoting The Holdovers, which is getting a lot of Oscar buzz. And Charlie Day, his episode was so good. The crime scene sketch was fantastic. So those are my honorable mentions, and you guys can find me at Sammy Kay on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And definitely, please check out all the other Superfan Takeovers we've done. We've done, a bunch, especially a bunch of drafts at this point. So definitely check those out, and happy holidays, everybody.
Rebecca, you picked Peyton, Lady Gaga, Issa Rae, Neil Patrick Harris, and Margot Robbie. Let's tell the listeners why your team is the best one.
Let's just look at that. Peyton Manning, Lady Gaga, Issa Rae, Neil Patrick Harris, and Margot Robbie. Diverse in talent. Think about that. If they were all on a show together, you would be like, everyone has their own part. Also, you can't tell me not one of those hosts, if you saw that during the episode as hosting next week, you would be elated. We literally have a full rounded out team here. If you like more musical, if you're a sports person, if you like good performers, if you like brilliant acting, or just like comedy genius, my team is definitely the team for you. And I think if you actually do watch this whole episode, if you want to go back and rewatch the 2.5 hours we did, after every single pick I did, everyone here gave me a nod. And I think that says something that everyone was like, yeah, it's a good one. My honorable mentions are RuPaul. It really, really hurt to not be able to pick him. Although I didn't pick him for a reason, but it's always fun to see him. Charlie Day is my biggest crush on the entire list. I have feelings for him. Megan Mullally is just someone that I don't know how relevant she would be to be on screen now, but she's just brilliant and I eat up everything she does. And lastly, I think Paris Hilton, now that she's super self-aware and a mom and becoming more into her own, would have a killer Kim Kardashian-esque episode now where she could actually play to her strengths and do genuine comedy. So that's my honorable mentions. Pick my team. It's so solid. And then find me at all socials at Barbecue.
Bill Kenney, you have Rosario Dawson, George Clooney, Oprah, Dan Aykroyd, and Lovitz. So tell us why your team is the best.
Listen, you've got a Star Wars icon in Rosario Dawson. You've got two global icons in Clooney and Oprah. I mean, everybody knows who they are. And then you're bringing back two amazing cast members in Aykroyd and Lovitz. No brainer that you should pick me. For my honorable mentions, Carl Weathers, who hosted a fantastic episode in season 13, is still relevant today in Star Wars and The Mandalorian. Jodie Foster, as our origin story is in Stats, would be the longest between first and second. She hosted in season 2, still out there, still relevant. And Jon Stewart. Would love to see him come back now that he no longer has a show. So, yeah, follow me at BKLove73 at all the socials, and happy holidays.
DJ, over to you. You picked Donald Glover, Andy Samberg, Seth MacFarlane, Aubrey Plaza, and Tiffany Haddish. Tell the listeners why your team is the best.
Because I think I have a team of fantastic creatives, directors, producers, writers, and funny people and excellent performers. I think if you look at my list, if you look at Donald Glover, Tiffany Haddish, Aubrey Plaza, Seth MacFarlane, and Andy Samberg, every single one of them, I think, has had an electric, well done, well created episode where their own voice was able to come through, or the show was able to work well around them. People love Aubrey Plaza. Why not? You know she's going to bring her A game, and she's going to have little bits of herself sprinkled throughout this. If you had Donald Glover and Aubrey Plaza, if you had all 5 of these people in a room, Donald Glover and Aubrey Plaza, they go way back to, shout out Mystery Team, to the Derek comedy days, back when Donald Glover did his first movie. Seth and Donald might start talking about creating and producing shows. They're gonna bring in Andy on the conversation, and Tiffany and Aubrey Plaza are gonna have a blast. I think these 5 people, I love looking at this list. I think there's a lot of love for what these people do and what they've created. They've shown themselves time and time again to be excellent performers and to produce fantastic art. Honorable mention, I already mentioned Jessica Chastain. I know that feels I knew no one would pick her, but I think she has a top-notch episode that has some of my favorite Heidi things. Oscar Isaacs, I think he did a great surprise episode. Aziz Ansari, I know Aziz is kind of maybe a little bit more out of the limelight, but I thought he had such a good, strong episode. And, I still love him from his Tom Haverford days. Kumail Nanjiani, I know he's not a stand-up. I know he's ripped and stuff now, but I'd be so curious to see a Kumail Nanjiani hosted episode now versus, Kumail when he was The Big Sick. Also, I had RuPaul on my list as well because I thought that would be fun. But honestly, as much as I love RuPaul, I feel like there will be other good drag queens that could host. Trixie Mattel, I feel like that's just an easy one right there. But also Peter Dinklage, shout out to Space Pants. Oh, and also I have a 15-minute podcast called Rabbit Trail. That's RABID. You can reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at We Are Rabbit Trail. Again, that's RABID. We've done over 120 episodes now. Just talking about whatever we want to. We have a lot of fun doing it. You can find me, TJ, at King Compliment on Instagram. Thanks for having me, John.
Of course. Victoria, you have MJ, Ryan Reynolds, Quinta Brunson, Dolly Parton, and Joe Pesci on your team. Tell the listeners why your team is the best.
I'm going to say the exact same thing the last 5 people said, is that I've got variety, I've got the best of folks in their categories, yada, yada, yada. Look, if you like those people, vote for me, and if you don't, vote for someone else.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know. I can't force you to do things you don't want to do. Okay, I do have honorable mentions. So Selma Hayek, want to get my Middle Eastern representation in there. She's also just incredibly talented and of course beautiful. I do also have Jon Stewart on my list. If we had gone another round, he would have been my pick. Shout out Fred Armisen, underrated. Jackie Chan, Jen Gardner, Julia Stiles, Sarah Jessica Parker. So.
All right.
Again,
Well, yeah, great job, Victoria. So I have Taylor Swift, Adam Sandler, Bruno Mars, Tom Brady, and William Shatner. I feel like I have a really solid list across the board. Kicking things off with Taylor Swift, of course. How could you not vote for my team? Adam Sandler returning to the show again would be really fun. Bruno Mars, we've all been asking for. I think Tom Brady, this would just be so cool to have back on the show one more time. And we can cap it off by celebrating William Shatner late in his life as being the oldest host in SNL history. I think he would just kill it. So would be so excited to have William Shatner back at the show. So yeah, very excited for that. I did have a few honorable mentions I wanted to mention. One was, I thought it'd be like really fun. I don't know if this would ever work out, but I thought it'd be really fun to get Louise Lasser back at the show. So I was thinking about that, which had a crazy episode in season 1. Stevie Wonder was somebody who I was very close to picking, and I'm thinking about a lot. I would love to see if they would ever have him back. Oh yeah, Stevie Wonder on Victoria's list as well. Also thought about somebody like Willie Nelson. Could be pretty cool. Julia Stiles, we just saw on the show, so clearly still can have it. Thought that would be fun. Sean William Scott was personally like one of my favorite hosts, and would be really fun to get him back. And then some more recent hosts that I was thinking about were Kieran Culkin, Austin Butler, Michael B. Jordan. And honestly, in the second round when I picked Adam Sandler, I was like, should I just pick Travis Kelce and have Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce on my team? But I had to be serious a little bit here and pick, obviously, the Sandman. So yeah, that is my team, and you should definitely vote for it. Haynes, let's hear from you why your team of Jason Sudeikis, Will Forte, Jennifer Lawrence, Keegan-Michael Key, and Willem Dafoe is the best.
Woo! All right. I ate that gummy like 45 minutes ago, so it's starting to slow down for me here. All right, so we had, what do we got here? We got Jason Sudeikis and Will Forte. Very heavy on the SNL, right? So from cast member perspective, you've got some real lovable comedy here that we can all, these are obviously some of the greatest cast members of all time. Along with that, another one of the greatest sketch actors of our generation in Keegan-Michael Key. Then we've got, this is a dynamic list, so we're heavy on the sketch comedy with an explosive world star in Jennifer Lawrence. And then, because like Charlie Day on It's Always Sunny, every group needs a wild card, Willem Dafoe, obvious wild card at the table here. And as far as runners up, I will say honorable mentions. We pretty much named all the ones that I had on my list right there. Jon Stewart, Megan Mullally. I think Christine Baranski's underrated. So love her. Listen, they could bring back, obviously, either of the former SNL Myers cast members. Mike and Seth would be great. So those are my honorable mentions. And since we're saying our goodbyes at this part too, like, I had the best week ever, got engaged to the best person in the world. And just, yeah, appreciate that. So having a fantastic week. And this is a really fun episode, as always.
Yeah, we're also excited for you, Haynes. So congratulations on
Thanks.
that. So yeah, that does it for our draft tonight. I hope you enjoy this tradition that we do every holiday season, where we go and draft something really fun for you. And if you have enjoyed all of the content we have produced for you here at the Saturday Night Network throughout 2023, whether you listen to one episode or all of them, I just really want to thank you on behalf of everybody here. We are an army of people who love Saturday Night Live, and we welcome you to join our community. So I hope you you have fun with all the content we're producing. We love to see your thoughts in the chats every single week, and sincerely hope that you have a wonderful holiday season and Happy New Year. We look forward to seeing you next year in 2024 for some great SNL content. We're not done here at the SNN throughout the holidays. We will have something, a fun like best of end of the year show that'll come out next week. And of course, if you missed our content that was covering Kate McKinnon, we had nonstop coverage of that show. In addition, we just wrapped up the Greatest Cast Members of All Time series, where we revealed the top 3 cast members in SNL history. And that was, if I will just say so, one of the best shows we've ever done here on the SNN, an incredible podcast that you cannot miss. So make sure to go back and check that one out. Thank you, Sammy, Rebecca, Bill, TJ, Amanda, Victoria, and Haynes for joining us tonight. Thanks for everybody in the chat who joined us as well. We will see you next time, everybody. Have a good one.